Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time once again for Monday Night Mayhem. Right here live on the MRL Broadcasting Network. You've got the voice of MRL, Mean Gene Money, along with my tag team partner, Zach Panzarella. And we're coming to you live tonight from Nowhere Land, Massachusetts, at the iRacing Superspeedway. Now, I've been to Massachusetts before, but never Nowhere Land. How does that make you feel, Zach?
Oh man, I'm actually someone who doesn't travel very much, but actually has been to Massachusetts quite a few times. That's where my family's from. I'm scared, Mean Gene. I'm around unfamiliar territory, and I cannot believe what I'm seeing. What is this track?
I can't even imagine it. This is a creative track, one might say. 3 miles of super speedway, 5 wide, the entire length of the circuit, and over 30-degree banking. I think you described it best to me once, Zach, when you told me who you thought the designer was.
Yeah, I said last week, this track is like if a 14-year-old was given the ability to just kind of design a track however they wanted. And this is probably what they would come up with, is something that looks a little something like this. Look at this, Mean Gene. 2.95 miles. And not just that, it's a super speedway, which is insane. So the banking is unbelievable. It dwarfs the banking that you see at Daytona or Talladega, which is already surreal. But then just to make things even crazier, 2.95 miles. That sounds kind of long, doesn't it? Yeah, you'd be right to think that.
Looking at the banking, I think any of our military branches, except for the United States Marine Corps, would break out rappelling gear. Marines, they would just traverse straight up the side of that. But all kidding aside, it would be tough for even the most strenuous mountain climber to make it up a 32-degree bank. And look how high it is. You can see right now 2X Racing making their way around there, wide open. But those banks are going to give us some incredible speeds. I made jokes at Talladega last year about it being the speedway, but this one, we're going to see speeds well over that 180, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, well over 180 is which is what you're running when you're by yourself. What I want to point out too is if you look at that track map, Mean Gene, and you look at the 2.95 miles, that's longer than Daytona and Talladega, which are both enormous tracks. Tracks so big to where it can legitimately rain on one side of the track and not the other. So where does this track get its distance? It's all in the straightaways, Mean Gene. Look at those corners. They're tiny. If you look at this map, you'd swear you're looking at Martinsville, wouldn't you? If you didn't know it was so big. So not only are the corners just unbelievably banked, they're so tight. And it leads to these insane moments where it makes it kind of hard to gather up the car in the small amount of moments you have, or the small amount of time you have through the corners. But then there's so much time down the straightaways to get an enormous draft. Just get so much speed built up in that car, create huge runs, and make moves, and oftentimes create wrecks.
Well, you know what? They're going to need all that extra time when they're going down the straightaways to think about what happened last week and what they're going to do for the rest of this season. This is race number 2 of season 4 of our MRL Cup series. And last week we had our crown jewel event, the opener at Charlotte Motor Speedway, where we saw Colin Bollinger take and punch his ticket, that Willy Wonka golden ticket, straight to the playoffs. It is a win and you're in situation. 12 drivers will battle at the end of our 12 race season, and Colin Bollinger, he was the big winner last week. Second place, getting lots of points, and no surprise, Florida man himself, Jack Duval. And third place, after some controversy with other drivers, Joe Volpis made his way through the maelstrom to find himself on the podium as well. So Colin Bollinger with the win, Jack Duval second, Joe Volpis. Sad thing though, Zach, is what happened to Michael Mata out there. But some might say that's just racing. But Michael, he was quick, right?
Yeah, Mata was very, very quick. He just didn't have the fuel strategy that worked out for him. We saw a lot of different strategies last week with the unpredictability that we kind of had with the cautions and how the race progressed, especially as we got later into the race. So yeah, it just didn't work out for certain guys, and it definitely, we had a lot of comers and goers. We really weren't seeing a ton of Bollinger until later in the race. I mean, he was around the top 10, but certainly not dominating the way he was able to late in the race, and it really just goes to show how much talent there is in this league from the top to the bottom, and how you can never get comfortable even when you're controlling the early part of a race.
Yeah, last year we had that Final Four, of which Tony Iverson was on the outside looking in. Tony said he had a lot to prove to come back and do that. And then you add somebody like Colin Bollinger to the mix. Colin was the champion from the Wednesday night Xfinity series. So suddenly you add a champion from another top tier into the mix, and the chemistry of this could easily cause some explosions. And speaking of explosions, how about that finish last week? Sean Walton definitely had one of the faster cars. We saw him weave through traffic from 12th place all the way up to 3rd, and that's where he ran into David Owens. David Owens doing his best Ryan Newman impersonation. And then what do you think happened in that turn there? Did the toe link break and all the tires went flat, and that just caused Sean's car to swerve to the right there, Zach?
Well, there's one small inaccuracy there, me and Gene. It didn't happen in a turn. It happened on a straightaway, similar to another guy's toe link who broke in real life, right?
Well, I think he just said the wheel was stuck or something.
Oh, yeah.
But then once MRL officials arrived on the scene, they noticed that the wheel worked fine, nothing was broken, and all 4 tires were full of air. I'm making jokes, but yeah, big incident on the track there. Sean Walton's frustration boiled to fruition, and he ended up intentionally wrecking David Owens and taking out some other car members with him as well. Lots of incident points and penalties were awarded. Is that the right word?
I mean, yeah.
Distributed?
They earned them, didn't they? They earned them.
They earned them last week. So 5 drivers ended up receiving penalties of some type. Sean Walton, he had 5 points off for incident points, an additional 5 for the intentional wreck, and he will be given an EOL at the next intermediate track. Matthew Fritz, 22 incidents, got 5 points taken off. Brandon Guerin, Joe Amato, both taking off 5 points for incidents. And then David Owens, he gave a verbal response to Sean Walton that lasted longer than a Joe Biden acceptance speech. And that too got David Owens an EOL at the next intermediate track. So not exactly what we would want to present to the other drivers, but between me and you, it was awful interesting to watch for us, the viewers, Zach.
Yeah, it was sure entertaining, me, Gene. It's not what you want to do to start your season, especially, I mean, Sean Walton, not a rookie by any means. Someone who, like we've talked about, has tons of experience and tons of speed in other MRL leagues, but not a great first showing in terms of his on-track aggression. That was consistent throughout the race. And then on top of that, yeah, the moment at the end with Owens, getting the frustration get the better of him. But sometimes that's what you need to get that kick in the rear end and shape yourself up and get it out of the way early. I mean, Walton has the speed.
He should have known better, right? Bottom line, he should have known better. He's been in this league a long time, and it was the last few laps. David Owens was under no obligation to get out of his way. You want to race for that second place finish, and I think that's what we saw. Owens did nothing dirty. He didn't block him. He just side drafted him the whole time. So nothing, David Owens didn't do anything out of the unusual except, try to win a race. Kind of like the real reason we're here. It is fun to hypothesize, would Walton on those fresher tires have caught Bollinger? And even if he did, Colin wasn't going to let him by neither. So it would have been fascinating to see. But unfortunately, it did end the way it did. The only winner in that scenario, I would say, would have been Joe Volpus, who managed to weave his way through that maelstrom into that third place finish. So that's just racing for everybody else. But for Sean, shame. Everybody knows your name. And he promised he wouldn't do it again. He pinky promised league admin John Beverly, so I don't expect to see any more trouble moving forward.
We'll see if he's a man of his word. And I mean, one more thing and then we'll let it go is Walton, the way that Owens was racing him wasn't inconsistent with the way that Walton was racing everyone else all race. And if you're going to dish it like that, which he has every right to do, you got to be willing to take it too. This is a track where we're really going to see how much he means that. Walton, actually, I'm not sure if you remember me, Gene, he showed up for a playoff race last year at a Superspeedway at Talladega, and he put on some aggressive moves. He hurt a few feelings, but in my opinion, he didn't really do anything egregious. He was just the aggressive driver that he is, and it'll be interesting to see him again at a Superspeedway today.
Yeah, he actually joined a team for one race. They dubbed themselves Checkers or Wreckers, and Matt Tucker 3000 was part of that team, and they were smashing each other. It wasn't bump drafting, it was smash drafting, but it was really effective for them to move up through the field when they did that technique on each other. But once they started that hard bumping on other cars, it really caused some incidents, especially at the end of the race on worn out tires. And I'm really interested to see if anybody would use that smash draft here at this 3-mile course. You might get away with it on a straightaway, but could you imagine somebody touching you in the wrong spot going around this banking?
Well, that's kind of why I've been keeping the camera on this group here, the 27 Club or 27X Racing. They've been working together all practice, Mean Gene, and we were talking before the broadcast about how they were already calculating three car pack lap times, 2 car pack lap times, 4 and 5, and everything in between, not leaving nothing up for guesswork. And by watching them work together, and they have been kind of practicing those push drafts and those hard, like you call them, smash drafts, where you get those massive runs down these huge straightaways. Oftentimes that's gone wrong, and these are teammates trying to work together, trying to give each other aggressive pushes that are super lined up but beneficial, and they've been struggling to do it, Mean Gene. During this little practice broadcast, we've probably watched them on screen wreck 2 or 3 times, and every time it's been a push gone wrong. So it will be very, very interesting to see how that happens throughout the race.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this team up. 2X Racing, Mason Smalley and Austin Merrow, the 26 and the 28, the 2 best friends from elementary school growing up. Jack Sanders, our season 2 champion, is part of that team. And then they added Kevin Kyle. Kevin Kyle is a meticulous driver. He's known for being with Team Folcom over in our sister league, the Bonfire Race League. And Kevin, I think his addition has just brought another level of intellectual analysis to that team that I overheard on their radio communications. Absolutely talking about how fast are we with 2? How fast are we with 4? Can we get away with just pitting if we see 2 guys going for it on their own? And then 6 men, can we catch the larger group? Really fascinating to see that. Speaking of strategy, I have a secret. Do you think I'm okay to say it? Maybe the other teams won't hear us, Zach?
Do it.
Okay. So MC Motorsports, that's Bob Dodson, Michael Mata, Jonathan Casabir. These fellers are known for being so fast on super speedways. Well, Jonathan, he actually ran with some of the DDI guys on a truck race. And after the race, he said, hey, if it comes down to it, would you 4 guys want to hook up with us and maybe get a 7-car train going if we can get away from the pack and try to lose some of these bigger name teams? So we might see, I didn't hear the end of the conversation. They noticed I was standing in the room and the door was closed on me. But it'll be interesting to see at the end, to see if these two teams end up hooking up at the end, because as we all know, 6 or 7 is faster than 4.
Oh yeah, man, Gene, and I may or may not have seen something about that in the DDI Discord, but that's not important. Jonathan Casabir may or may not run with us on another team. But hey, you know what it's time for, Mean Gene? Because while these boys qualify, not Zach's stats, that's the wrong Zach's graphic. Zach on track. I want to show you guys around this track to really give everybody here an idea of just how ridiculous this place is. Because normally when we go to super speedways, I don't really show it to you guys because it kind of is the definition of go fast, turn left, right? But not really here. I mean, it is, but I really want to give you guys a scope of how ridiculous this place is. So this will just be a leisurely drive around iRacing Superspeedway to give everybody a scope of just the ridiculousness we're dealing with. So first of all, Mean Gene, that's a turn in front of me, not a wall. That is the banking.
That's a wall. That's a wall.
Right? It looks like a tidal wave coming at you. It's comical. There's no way, like we talked about, without any sort of repellent gear, any human being is walking up that corner. Are you kidding me with that banking? And now let's pay attention to how long this straightaway is. You often talk about smoking a cigarette while driving. This is a track where this would actually not be the most irresponsible thing. Because, man, you have a lot of time on these straightaways. these runs, Mean Gene, are going to get massive. And then a big thing here that I learned the hard way when I first started racing at this track, you got to be turning in early because that banking transition is enough for the car to literally catch air if you're on the very bottom of the track. And just look above me, Mean Gene. There is a solid 4 to 5 lanes above me, which means the ability to go 4 to 5 wide. And these straightaways, they are wide and they are so long. So we'll just do one lap around here since they're giving these guys 10 minutes to actually qualify, I just realized. And I get why, because it takes so long to get around this track by yourself. So first of all, I'm going to enter low, which you'll often have to do if you're on the inside line. And this is egregious. I'll see if I go straight. The car wants to go up. Yep. And I'm correcting it all the way back down here. You can't do that. There'll be cars up here. You need to make sure to keep in the bottom of the track. So again, let's just pretend that there's cars up here, which there will be the whole time. So I'm probably stuck down here, if not here. As every Superspeedway does have, you have the yellow line rule. I can't go below here. But this is what you got to do to enter these courses safely. Watch how early I'm going to turn my wheel left, Mean Gene. I'm already full left. And that's how you get that smooth transition. You don't want to hit the apron like I did there. But nonetheless, that's better than hitting a car on the top of you, as long as you can keep the car straight. And then got to get the wheel straight early, too, or you're going to get squirrely in the exit of these corners. That is one lap around. Just an insane track. And you guys will see in these races, or in these wrecks, as they happen. And also one more thing, pay attention to my miles per hour there. 179. That is nothing, Mean Gene. They've been going so much faster than that with the draft. I'm thinking over 200. But this race and this track, and I don't want to say it to be too morbid, but every wreck here, Mean Gene, would likely be like fatal in real life. That's how bad the wrecks are here. They are disgusting. So you got to keep your head in a swivel at this track.
Well, luckily, the cars get one resurrection per race.
They do.
We do have the one fast repair. 65 laps, 4 sets of tires, 1 on the car, 3 in the pit. And speaking of the pits, we didn't talk about that. How is that pit entry? You're going 180 by yourself. You're going 200 in a group, and then you got to suddenly slam it down to 65 miles an hour. How difficult is that pit entry, especially if you're on some wore out tires?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because while we were filming Buddy Sully earlier, we actually saw him go around the track once or twice, just once at a time, though, 1 lap at a time, to practice exactly that. And it is a huge deal, Mean Gene. And what's such a big deal about it, as you can see it right here behind Smalley, is there's really
it's
not
still fully banked.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Still fully banked.
You're dealing with the banking still, as you were really having to already kind of wind the car down. I'm trying to find somebody here that still has a lap to go so we can see just how little time you have on that transition. Oh, let's see if we can get in the cockpit for this one. Here we go. So this is the middle of 3 and 4. And yeah, so look to your inside the track here, Mean Gene. You're so right. You have so little time here. You'll be going faster. You already need to be buckling down here. It's luckily a very straight entry, but man, you got to be thinking about that the second you exit 4.
Yeah, that's insane. We're inside the 57 of Brandon Guerin. Thank you for letting us join you in that in-car right there, Brandon. I wonder, do you just slam it down? We saw a race at Phoenix just on Sunday where people are trying to slam down off mild 9-degree banking to go under that apron and seeing them spin wildly. I can only imagine at a much higher rate of speed coming off of a much more uneven surface. It is entirely possible that we're going to see a few incidents as people come in there. Hopefully we'll see some green flag pit stops. That always makes for more interesting racing. I love to see how the drivers overcome that or take advantage of that little part of racing, right? To come in and get that clean pit, in and out, don't speed, but really ride that meter right at that 65 mile an hour limit today.
That's going to be extremely important today, getting in and out of the pits clean, but also making sure you don't do it alone. Making sure that you're with a group, whether it be your teammates or strangers. You cannot pit alone here. As we were talking about with the Zach on track, I was not really able to get over 179 there, Mean Gene. I'm not sure if anyone else here, as I'm looking at the mile per hour, it doesn't look like it. You're going to be going so much faster than the draft. I'm expecting these guys to take off a solid 2 to 3 seconds per lap in the draft. So whatever you do, you got to make sure it's a group of at least 3 when you do decide to pit. And I think that's why you saw the 27 Club there doing so much work to stay connected, exit the pits together, enter the pits together, and run in a group together. So yeah, if they're not liking the vibe of the group, the vibe of the pack that they're in, they can bail whenever they want and make sure they're still in a pack and can maintain that speed.
Yeah, we saw MC Motorsports be so good at that last year when we were at Talladega. It just seemed like they were always able to find each other, taking advantage of the high line. A lot of people just don't have the fortitude to go up high and keep it wide open. But here, with it being 5 lanes wide all the way through, I don't think that'll be a problem. So that open lane upstairs might not be there for these teams to find each other. Be very curious to see how they will get back together once the decks shuffle.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting. It's going to be very dependent as well on just kind of how the race plays out in terms of green flag and yellow flag racing. While these guys are also going to probably end up using their faster pairs, it's going to be very precarious if you get in a massive wreck and it's so bad to where you can't even tow. Even situations that don't bring out yellows, Mean Gene, those can be crippling in races like this if you lose the draft. So it's really going to be about how the race plays out and how important strategy becomes as we go on and as the laps tick down. I think we're only running about 60 laps today, which doesn't sound like a lot, but with the size of this track, it's quite a bit. But nonetheless, I do think if we stay green for a while, they're going to tick off quite fast.
Yep, 65 laps scheduled for today. And remember, we do have a halfway point. There will be no caution. There is no stage break, but they will award points for top 5. Is that right, Zach?
Yes, it is. Correct. And
yeah, so top 5 drivers will be getting points. And there's Tony Iverson on the track. I'll tell you what, Tony Iverson, he had a bumper last week, did he not?
Yeah, speaking of not the best way to start your season, Tony Iverson, a guy that gained tons of respect last season as one of our top drivers, but did not start the season on a great note. Yeah, introducing his bumper to a lot of cars in a lot of the similar situations. Immediately got in the Discord after the race, apologized to those that he affected, and is hoping to keep it cleaner today. But nonetheless,
well,
Tony Iverson. Not everybody.
No, he didn't apologize to Sean Walton.
Oh, yeah. I guess he did leave one guy out, didn't he?
He sent Walton for a ride, yeah.
Forgot about that.
Usually I like to polish Tony's knob, but he was so busy smashing people with it, I just couldn't get close last week.
Same here. I was trying my best. It's my favorite thing to do, but yeah, I just couldn't get a chance to last week.
No, he was definitely a menace out there. Hey, speaking of menaces, Matthew Fritz, always a clean driver, super patient, but Matthew did manage to accumulate enough incident points last week to be given a 5-point penalty. Usually one of the more passive drivers too, so I was excited to see him in there. But you got to remember, those incident points, it's just not what you're doing with your front bumper. It's just the misfortune of being involved in wrecks. Matthew was part of that wreck at the end when Walton went right up into Owens. So Matt Fritz could have avoided the penalty, but he couldn't avoid Sean Walton, and that ended him putting him into that situation. Because Matt, all last year, I was always saying I wanted to see him be a little more aggressive. And I think it paid off. He almost had that dub that Jax Duvall ended up scoring there at the end of the year. He was so close to that victory. He's a guy that's definitely on my radar this year, is going to be Matthew Fritz. And how about this fella, Michael Mata? This guy was so fast all last year.
Look at that shot, too. Thank you to Brendan, Garen for the new camera angles, because that shot, woof, that was cool. Or was it Jared Kelly? Whoever it was, thank you for the new camera angles, because we'll be using them all day today. And yeah, you're right. I think for Fritz, it was a wrong place, wrong time type of deal. But Mean Gene, let's take a look at this qualifying grid here. On our poll today, Joseph Amato, he put down a heater. It was on camera. That thing looked good. And Kevin Kyle, that guy has shown time and time again, he knows how to put it on the front row at Superspeedways. He has numerous poles at Daytona and Talladega, able to qualify second today. Eric Thornton making an appearance here in third place. Jose Medina with an excellent qualifying effort over in fourth place. And then Alex Hillman back-to-back top 5 qualifying efforts, 5th place today.
Very nice. First forward on the pole is going to be Michael Mata. First forward on the grid, Michael Mata in that 16 Ford. He starts 6th. Brandon Guerin, also in the Ford, is 7th. Steve Lewis, our friend Louie, he is starting in 8th. Richard Swingle, 9. Austin Merrow, 10. And hey, wherever you see Austin Merrow, Mason Smalley not far behind, going to start 11th. Joe Volpus, 12. Jax Duvall 13, Jack Sanders 14, Hunter Hall, that's your top 15.
And then in 16th, Tony Iverson, we saw him qualify late, not able to put down a super fast lap. Jonathan Casabier over in 17th, Kevin Brower 18th, Colin Bowinger, last week's winner, choosing not to put down a time in 19th. And I should say that Kevin in 18th was our first car not to. Actually, no, it was. I'm sorry. Colin Bowinger, our first car not to put down a lap time in 19th. Bolander, that's never confusing, me and Gene, over in 20th. Even better that they're next to each other. 21st with Daniel Smith. We saw his debut last week, and he put down a great race. Be looking for him today. David Owens, yet another fast car, choosing not to qualify in 22nd. With Matthew Fritz, we saw him actually out there, but choosing never to put down a lap that counted in 23rd. And same goes for Buddy Solly, rounding out our field in 24th place. And I'm sorry, Gene, we actually got more for you.
Yep. You got Matt Novella hiding down there in 25th. And starting in the back of the pack, going to be Sean Walton in that number 23 Toyota. Funny story about Daniel Smith. That's that number 31 Toyota driver. That guy was in second place last week, and then all of a sudden disconnected.
Oh, I know. What a great time for him. That's such a sad thing. It happens all too often, doesn't it? It's the worst thing about sim racing, in my opinion. Well, Mean Gene, as they grid up, there's only one thing left to do.
And now, race fans, for the most famous words in motorsports, the star of Universal Pictures movie, I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry, Kevin James.
I just got three things to say. God bless our troops, God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engine!
Oh, yeah. I love they cut to Joey Logano. I love they cut to Joey Logano first, too. He's the first guy to turn that engine on. 26 cars here today at the iRacing Superspeedway. Had a field of 30 last week. 26 guys are going to make it back. I guess 4 of them never left the infield tent.
Guess not. Never realized that was Logano at the beginning of the video, Mean Gene. Now I have to edit it and cut that part out.
No, you leave Joe. Leave Joey alone.
Okay, so let's look just real quick, Mean Gene. Let's just visualize this. Look at the screen right now as they line up side by side. Look at how many lanes are available above and below these cars.
No, it's terrifying, especially considering how aggressive some of these guys have been known to be looking for the win. It's early in the season. You win and you're in, but also you got to start collecting those points. Every driver out here has won somewhere.
Yes, they have.
So in their head, they're thinking, I could win here.
But anyone,
Superspeedway.
Anyone can win here, Mean Gene. We should have mentioned that anyone can win here.
Wow, it's just exciting watching them make their way around. Okay, here we go. So, pace car is off. We're going to be looking at the 19 of Joe Amato. He is going to be leading them off. Green flag, and we are underway. Joe Amato, Kevin Kyle in a drag race. Jose Medina, Eric Thornton right behind him. Look how close Michael Mata is. Alex Hillman, oh my word, look how deep this field is. 2 by 2 going around this 3-mile oval. And they finally make it into the banking. Let's see if everybody can keep it on that straight and narrow, Zach. Oh, my word.
Look at the size of this track, Mean Gene. They have all the room in the world to go 4 or 5 wide if they want to. Keeping it 2 wide right now. Patience is going to be key to start this race. You saw guys like Jax Duvall put in his qualifying effort, didn't get the pole, so decided right away, I want nothing to do with this. Went straight to the back of the field to be around old teammates like Owens, as you see that back group already forming, trying to stay together because they do not want to be around this craziness we have up front as Joe Amato leads them with Kevin Kyle on the outside.
Well, I'm sitting here watching it on that blimp cam, and you can just see the G-forces as they whip around. 4 cars back, Steve Lewis on the outside, doing his best to keep that thing on the straight and narrow because he's got Austin Merrill right on his tail, ready to see him wiggle, go the wrong way. 57 of Brandon Garan, he's in that. He's in that target car as well, waiting to make his move. Alex Hillman in the 8 looking competitive. Eric Thornton, good to see him up there again. This guy's been up front all time, two weeks in a row. So I think that's the #1 car. We're going to be seeing him all year long.
Look at Kevin Kyle making aggressive moves on the outside, getting pushes from Jose Medina. They're having a hard time linking up to do anything of super effect, but Medina giving him aggressive enough pushes for Kyle to have enough momentum to have a shot at the lead here. We're going to find out a lot in this first run, Mean Gene, about what line carries the most momentum throughout the corners and what line these guys prefer as Kevin Kyle is able to get the lead here. Let's see what he wants to do. The inside-outside, the 27 of Kevin Kyle to the lead.
Hello momentum right there, as you can
Oh,
see him
wow.
rip through, and now Medina and him slingshot together. Michael Mata hooks it in, that outside three really dialed in inside lane. You can see that 19 trying to maintain pace, the 1 and the 8 now getting together, but it's the speed of the outside lane right now. Kyle Medina goes down. He's in the middle. We're 3 wide. Let's see how we do it. Steve Lewis is going to be the first car that's going to go 3 wide. Lewis lets off wisely, and he opens it up and allows Mata and Jose Medina to get back into line. Good awareness there by the 88 of Steve Lewis.
Exceptional awareness with the 54 Medina as well. He only had about a split second to take that inside line, that little hole that formed, and he took it, and that was the right move. He could have lost a lot of track position there, Mean Gene. One thing I want to point out too, Kevin Kyle, when he first initially took that lead, he kind of went no man's land in the middle, and look how bad of a checkup it caused earlier when that came on the outside of this corner last lap. It almost created a wreck. That I think is why that 3 wide situation even happened, is because Kevin Kyle broke the draft, and that just completely checked up his car. The speed differential is just far too great to take that car out of the draft for even a second.
Yeah, you could see Medina faded back. Oh no, little contact. The 8 goes down. He makes contact with Medina. Guerin goes around.
Oh.
That's the 57 of Guerin up into the wall.
That could have been a lot worse, Mean Gene, all things considered, and that was one of those times where it's kind of beneficial for how big this track is. As Brandon
Looks like
Guerin.
Jose Medina made contact right there. Let's take a look.
Yeah, let's take a look at that one. Here we go. Guerin into the corner. The 08 already off the racing surface, re-enters, and it's so hard to regather. Like we talked about in Zach on Track, right up the track, right, Mean Gene? Right into Medina. Nothing Medina can do. Guerin, a kind of a sitting duck behind that numberless car. Who is that? Let me try to get a better view of who that is, because I have to read their banner now.
That's probably, I think that's Sanders, maybe.
I think, is it? I don't know. I'm not going to.
Look at Colin Bollinger. He's like, not me.
He's like,
me.
That is not what I signed up for, chilling in the back of this pack. That is not what I signed up for.
Did the 57 even touch the wall with that high banking?
Honestly, I'm not sure. Let's run it back and let's check again. Let's watch this real time this time, and we can kind of experience just how quickly this
Can you go
happen.
back a little bit further to where Hillman goes off the track?
Yeah, good call. Good call. Let's do that. So let's.
Because I think that's where Medina, they got together a little bit. They accordion up. And it's so hard to tell. You got to keep it buried or you're going to be a victim.
So we actually are going to go slow-mo here, and you're right. Let's take a look at the 08 of Hillman, the red car, 5 back there. He does get a little bit of a weird push entering the corner from Medina. And we've talked about also, Mean Gene, you got to already be steering down there, and there's sometimes a differential in the car in the front and the back there. We're keeping our eyes on Guerin here with this camera angle.
Yeah. And you can't, there's nowhere to go up. Like Medina would love to let him back in, but he's got the 88 of Lewis on the outside. There's nothing he can do.
I don't even know if it was a millimeter separating Hillman and the 57 there. And that's okay. Let's keep our eye on the 57 here. Does he even hit the wall? I don't think he's going to. Not even close. So not that bad. He did have damage. He hit a few cars, but not considerably bad. I think Guerin will definitely get out of that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go back to our live view here. And here's Guerin bringing it into the pits. And this is live. It looks like quite a few cars are, Mean Gene. So some aren't. This will definitely mix up our running order. And I can tell you boys right now why they're doing this. These are guys, as you like to call it, Mean Gene, counting backwards. Thinking about fuel already. Thinking about fuel already. That's the only reason you'd pit right now, because there's no reason to be worried about tires at a track like this.
I'm still trying to figure out who that red and black car is.
Man, I'm just.
Is that one of those high-siders?
It may be. I was just showing you guys time.
I love those red and black cars.
There's your laps. Oh, that one right there. That's Richard Swingle. I figured it out.
Oh, okay. That's Richard.
That's your paint job, boy.
Can't see his number though.
No, that's not the first time that's happened either. So this field is very mixed up. Kevin Kyle staying out, inheriting the lead. If he did not have it when it came out, he may have. Mata now in second with a Moto in third. So that is the same guys we've seen up front. Lewis now in 4th place with Mero in 5th, Medina in 6th. And our first car that pit is the 12th place, the number 1 of Thornton. There he is. Boo, Richard Swingle, boo. Should we bully him anymore, or are we done?
No, we're dead.
Okay, that's enough bullying. Where's your number? He's allegedly number 97.
I bet it's silver. You know, when you're in that Prime membership, you get the silver number.
You can do it. It's just really hard. The spec maps, they're so hard to do, they are such a nightmare. It's almost not worth it.
Oh, I forgot to ask you. You said at the beginning Massachusetts. You're from Massachusetts?
My whole family is actually. I'm born and raised in SoCal, but my mom moved out to Boston a couple months before I was born, and all my holidays and growing up I spent in Boston. So I have very fond memories of Massachusetts, and I'm an enormous Boston Celtics fan. I'm sorry if that's going to get anyone here hate me, but I'm a huge.
I'm gonna put your thumbs under the attack though.
Oh no!
Are you really from Boston though? Because see, I was born in Taunton, suburb. So when you say Boston, that's a very specific part of the city.
Yeah, my parents, and I always get their name wrong. I want to say it's Eaton is where they're from.
Oh, you ain't from Boston.
No, I'm not from Boston. I'm not. Well, I'm not from Boston
Eaton.
at all. Yeah, I am, right?
No, but Eaton.
I'm from. Yeah, they have. I'll have to tell the story one day about the house that my family lives in.
They're territorial up there, but.
Oh, they are. You're not kidding. You're not kidding.
They're like, what street? What street? Which side?
Exactly. What side of the freeway you on?
Is that an Irish last name? I don't like you.
Yeah, imagine an Italian.
Imagine a Portuguese. They gave me all the business.
Is anyone safe there?
All right.
That's why I have to be a Celtics fan.
Yeah, I think the Scottish-German guys are pretty safe.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, so let's look back at the track. Kevin Kyle, he has improved one position to find himself running up in the front after he took it away from Joe Amato early on in the race. Michael Mata, he's going to be running on the outside in that 16, fast all day, fast in practice, and now finding himself in that second position on the outside. He's in that beautiful blue and yellow car. Joe Amato, Austin Merrow, second row, Steve Lewis, Jose Medina, third row, Alex Hillman, Mason Smalley, fourth row, Hunter Hall, and Jonathan Case-A-Beer are going to be that fifth row. So lots of guys. Right now, your fastest mover on the track is Jonathan Case-A-Beer. He's currently in 10th, but he started in 17th. He's got to be happy. All right, pace car is off. We are ready to go green. Keeping an eye on the 27 of Kevin Kyle. He's on the inside, coming into the start zone. And away they go. Kevin Kyle, he is your control car. Going to get not a great jump that time. Mata stays side by side with him. Kyle on the inside. Going to get a lot of help, though, from Joe Amato. Amato's been known as a hard pusher. Look at Lewis. Goes up high again. Lewis has had trouble going into those turns initially with a really hard whipping effect. Him and Medina have an interesting touchy back there. The 19, though, and the 28 not getting it together. Lewis finally pounding into the back of Mata as he is coming hard right now, all on his back. And there's Medina as well. Outside lane is going to have the advantage.
Yeah, Lewis had, Kevin Kyle would not.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Lewis gets loose.
Louis,
this is going to be a big one, Gene.
Up into the 26 and the 6. That's going to take out 2X. That's going to take out MC.
Hunter Hall,
oh, my.
Case of beer. That was a big one, Gene, and I was talking about as it happened. Louis just was not giving straight up pushes, was he? Those were not good pushes.
And every time Louis was going in the turn, he wasn't able to keep that thing on the straight and narrow, and I knew it was a matter of time until he overcompensated, and I think that's exactly what we saw right there. Louis had been going high so many times into these turns, and so that time I think he just cut the wheel really hard.
Yep. And so this is Hall's view of it, actually. And I'm sorry, we'll do Louis after. This is Hall reacting to it, and this actually elevated the wreck and got Sanders involved, and that's Daniel Smith on the 31 on the top. Garand again.
Like, I don't want
now he may have to use that fast repair. And this track, so big. Oh, there's Buddy Sully.
Buddy Sully, Jack Sanders, Richard Swingle.
Case of beer destroyed. Case of beer, Hall, and Amato. That is so unfortunate for Joseph Amato. So unfortunate.
All right, let's go back. I want to see Louis' entry there because I think that's where it all went wrong. I think he came in a little too hot or too tight.
Just not non-committal to lines. I'm going to go back a little bit further from here. Non-committal to lines, bad pushes. I mean,
we might need Medina's in car because I wonder, did Medina just end up going into him really hard?
Let's try
Because I did see that he was getting really close, coming hard, and then he got right on his back. So that could be a problem.
Doesn't want to give me Medina's in-car right now. I'll give you that after. He's in the pits right now, so our fantastic software does want to let us do that. But let's keep our eye on the 88. It's going to be a sketchy push that sends him low, is my assumption. But he's not lined up,
Yeah,
Eugene.
look at
He's
that.
not in a lane.
Mhm.
And no, he just comes down far too late. The 27's already getting a push for the 19. There's nothing Kevin Kyle can do about that. Absolutely nothing.
No, Kyle's just a victim.
He sends the 88 there.
And look at Amato trying to adjust, hoping maybe he could get away.
Yep.
Nope.
He can.
The Ada Hillman is already on a ride.
Just
26 is Smalley just spinning.
So yeah, let's ride on board with Jose real quick, but I don't think we're gonna see what we think we are, Mangy. I don't think it was a bad push. It's just you gotta commit to your lines here, especially entering the corners. You have so much straightaway to figure it out. It's so important to figure it out early. Let's see here. You know, he's off the gas. He's doing everything he can, and he just goes down when he shouldn't.
Yeah, he just faded down. That was odd.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, it's easier said than done. We're not the ones going 200 miles per hour. That's what they have to deal with. But nonetheless, not a great situation.
And there was some craziness in the back also. Let's take a look at Daniel Smith and see what happened to him back in that wreck if we got time.
Yeah, I think we do. I'm going to watch solely for that, just to give you guys a little behind the scenes of how we do this. Because Smith was not counted by iRacing in this wreck, which is good.
Wow, look at this guy.
So there's Smith on the top of our screen. It's a pancake. That doesn't help from the 25 there.
Oh, look at Joe Vulpes get caught up in it in the 7, too.
Oh, no, you're right. Case of Beer trying everything he can to check up and just keeps getting pummeled. These are a lot of guys really not trying to make this wreck any worse and not getting to, you know,
it's hard when you're 200 miles an hour, though.
And, oh, there's the Ada Bolander. Can he get out of this?
Oh, Bolander. Oh, and there's a hood.
Back into Sanders. I believe that is. Oh, that's the 26. I'm sorry. Or no, I don't even know. It's so junked at this point. Not too bad for Bolander, I don't think. But there's Smith again. Oh, watch out, Daniel. One more for good measure. This thing just never ended, did it?
Nope.
And we're going to see a lot more of that. And we're already getting ready to go green. Kevin Kyle's still in the lead.
All right. Well, good for Kevin. He managed to make it.
As
Austin Merrill going to be second. Vulpes, Iverson, Thornton, Swingle, Bollinger, and Jax Duval.
So, yeah.
Have to take this thing green.
And the story I'm seeing here, me and Gene, is the top 6 outside of Kevin Kyle. Not that the last wreck was his fault, but the other, 6 behind him. Those are just guys who haven't been in wrecks yet. That's all it takes so far.
I thought Joe was in that wreck. I'm surprised to see him there. I must have misidentified the car that was part of that.
I thought I saw him in the middle of it as well. Maybe it wasn't enough damage for him to want to bring it down. But I thought I saw him in it as well. Or maybe he just did some Matrix action. We may have, if we have time, we'll go back to that later on. But this field already thinning out, me and Gene. Kevin Brower 2 laps down. Smalley 1 down. Case of Beer 1 down. Hunter Hall 1 lap down. And that's probably probably what that is a car so damaged they couldn't get it back to use that fast repair they had to tow.
Yeah, that's no bueno. Especially on a track this big, you'd sure like to think that you could get it back in there and have enough time. Once you're there, you got plenty of time to do a little bit of repair.
Yeah,
but with that new download, right? They meatball you.
Yeah, and that tow can take 3 minutes.
Here we go. The pace car is off. The control car is the 27 of Kevin Kyle. He's on the inside. Austin Merrill outside. We are green, and there's a much better jump this time by the control car. Kevin Kyle doesn't want to get too far ahead, though. Needs pacing, push help from others. He's got Joe Vulpes starting to catch up. That's that second car on the inside. And then Eric Thornton in the 1. Inside lane trying to get it together. Outside lane is much more organized. They split up a little bit, and look who is up in the front. There's that 13 of Tony Iverson.
Lack of organization again here, me and Gene. A lot of lines not forming up properly, as you can see from that camera angle. That is what spells disaster oftentimes. And here we go, 3 wide with Iverson in the top. No help for Iverson. I think he kind of had to bail out. I don't even know if that was an actual 3 wide attempt, but nonetheless, he's going to get some help from Garand. Hillman's going to help out as well if he can catch up. It looks like this will be the first time we get to see 3 legitimate lines formed up.
Very nice. Jax Duval slammed that door on Iverson, not letting him in. Jose Medina also taking advantage to force that outside lane to fade away. Outside lane now fades back into that second line with Medina. Iverson continuing to fade back all the way to 10th, maybe 9th place. Inside lane, though, we're looking now. Austin Merrow, he has taken the lead. He's out there in that 28 Chevrolet getting pushed by Richard Swingle. Now he cuts down hard, leaving Swingle out to dry, and the 27 of Kevin Kyle's going to be pushing Joe Volpus and then Hillman. That is the inside lane.
Look how brutal the exits of these corners are. I mean, Gene, that transfer from that insane banking to no banking is crazy. Wasn't surprising to see the 26 dip down to be with his teammate of Kevin Kyle. That's definitely going to be a priority of the 27 club, but that didn't work out that time. You saw him have to bail out there. He had just too big of a run behind him and had to bail out. That was the right move. And now here comes Jax Duvall pushing Swingle to the lead now. Swingle in that what should be the 97 car with Duvall pushing him. Medina in third. Medina with a sketchy push from Mata, pushing him to the middle. This could be a 3 wide, but I don't know if Medina's going to get any help here.
No, everybody's starting to get a little bit terrified right now. You can see Buddy Solly actually went down below the apron there for a minute to avoid it and did send him 4 wide just momentarily. Looks like we're going to get some 3 wide once again. We'll see how long that lasts. Michael Mata, he's going to be leading that middle group, and you're going to see Richard Swingle leading the inside group. Outside lane, Tony Iverson by himself. Guerin finally starting to close that gap, but the outside lane all alone, and that's going to cost the inside lane speed. Michael Mata recognizes this, cuts down quickly into 4th place. So Swingle, Duvall, Merrow, Mata, that's your front 4 on that inside lane. Outside lane's got to get this thing organized, Zach.
Yeah, you're gonna hear me keep harping on this, Mean Gene, but these 3 words, lack of organization, that's what you're really seeing happen, and it's why these outside lanes are having a hard time forming up. Let me get a look here, like someone like Medina here in the 13. There just isn't any real lane forming up there. They don't have any sense of direction, and now they're all bailing to the bottom, losing confidence in that top lane. And really what it is, I think, Mean Gene, tracks like Talladega and Daytona, there are hash marks on the corners that kind of help you guide the car and form those lanes, help you go 3 wide and keep within boundaries that you can set visually. While you do kind of have those marks you can see on the track, those kind of black lines, the seams in the racetrack, that is what they should be using to run these lines. They're having a hard time, and that could be part of it, Mean Gene. It's a lot easier said than done when you have a car next to you. You can see so little in these race cars, next gens especially. I'll ride on the cockpit with one of these guys soon so we can check out exactly what that's like, but it's the lack of organization, Mean Gene. These lines just don't look good.
No, right now teammates though up there 1 and 2 right now. You can see Swingle and Jax Duvall. They're part of that East Coast Alliance race team. They're 1st and 2nd. Austin Merrow, Michael Mata coming in, and Thornton, he just gets by Volpus. So little 3-car breakaway, but look how quickly that second group eats it up.
And look how quickly those runs form. Look at that run from Mata. That was enormous. It was a big enough run to go around Swingle and then pull up in front of him and take his line. You don't see that at Daytona or Talladega. That's exclusive to the ridiculous length of the back and front stretch of iRacing Superspeedway.
Well, and look at Brandon Guerin. That guy has been locked to the back of Tony Iverson for a few laps at this point. Guerin is a teammate of the 53 of Bollinger. Colin finally has Bollinger. Colin has finally made his way up into this front group. That's that number 53 car winner last week. Now finds himself up there. But I'm really interested to see how this 57 has just founded himself right on that bumper of the 13. That's not a bad place to be early in a race.
No, it's not. And these guys, they're the ones that
he bails.
He does. He does. These guys are sketchy on their lines. It looks like Iverson and Mata are very willing to work together. They both have an aggressive style, so that often meshes well together. So I would not be surprised to see those guys being the ones that want to conduct that middle lane. But wow, we talked about you got to have the wheel turn. They
out to dry,
and they went straight up that corner, didn't they, Mean Gene? They did not have the wheel turned early enough, and that sent the straight because they all follow the commander off the cliff. If one guy goes too far off up the corner, the line behind him is going to as well. We saw it there. They're lucky the outside lane wasn't closer to them, as now we start to see this outside lane forming just a little bit more, trying to get some momentum to compete with the inside lane. Jax the ball leading it right now. Look at that. Oh, wow.
Ooh, Volpus is the 4th car in that lane, but he fell all the way back. He went from 3rd place back to 11th just on what happened in that move alone. He's got Matt Fritz behind him. So outside lane has 5 solid drivers. If they could get the timing of it to get together and organize. But right now, that inside lane, though, with those teammates just hooking it up, the 84 And now it looks like the 28 has actually snuck his way into this mess on the inside lane as well of Austin Merrow.
Yeah, Merrow has been sneaky here. He's been here most of the time. Look at the exits of these corners, BG. They're getting really, really sketchy, and it's where the runs are forming weirdly. I think these guys are with the banking that they're pretty. Oh wow! In the back lane, there was almost a moment there, but
Wiggle.
Yeah, there was. With the runs that they're getting with the large amount of banking in these corners, the runs are forming, and they're really coming together at the end of the corner. But that's not the right time to push someone. It's quite literally probably the worst time. Oh, Swingle completely misses the corner, catches it. Is Swingle to be able to keep it together here?
He's on there. He likes that.
What a save by the 97, Richard Swingle. He missed the corner, went in way too early. Maybe it was a bad push, but nonetheless, that was an excellent save by Swingle. That could have been huge. Great driving by the 97.
All right, so you got that lead group all bunched up together. That's going to be the first 16 cars.
Looks like
and now
it.
You can see that second group. And Swingle going to get eaten up by that next group of 4.
Well, actually, this is actually a much smaller pack, BG. This is a
11.
little bit less than
It was
16,
11.
about 11. Then we got a group of about 5 right behind him. I believe that's
Let's see if
led
Swingle
by...
can catch in.
Who is that led by? That's led by Walton right now. And yeah, Swingle kind of in no man's land. And this group, Mean Gene, if there's going to be a caution, it's going to be here. These guys are going for it right now. And look at that sight that Colin Bollinger has in front of him. That could not make his heart rate any higher than it probably is right now. This is getting wild. And
they're 3 wide in front of him, too. That's fun.
And with all this separation, Mean Gene, these runs are going to get really, really big, really, really sketchy. These guys are going to have a very limited amount of time to have to make a reaction. As you see Merrow already looking for the lead on Jax Duvall, kind of trying to poke his way out. Not sure who's going to help him out as we're right on board with Austin Merrow here, pushing Jax Duvall. Watch how early they have to turn in. That's how you do it. Keeping the car plugged to the bottom of the racetrack as the 57, the 28, and the 84 have formed a little 3-car breakaway to lead this race.
Yeah, and that in-car view really lets you know just how little they can see. And you can see that whipping effect, that second group of cars behind them trying to close in on them. You're really hitting that whip hard going in and going out of that 30-degree plus banking. So we're seeing a couple of cars, a couple of groups forming now. We got that 3-car group up in the lead. And then after that, you can see about a 10-car group there. Vulpes, Matthew, Fritz in the back of that 8-car group. And then behind them, you're going to see a 5-car group. It does look like Richard Swingle was fortunate enough to catch on to that little group back there in 11th through 15th. But those top 10 cars right now just smoking.
Yeah, absolutely. They're really focused on doing the most they can with these laps. It's what we're starting to see form now are different groups of kind of single file lines. And I like what that outside group is doing because this kind of just occurred to me as well, me and Gene. So as we watch Bollinger and Iverson, well, they were working together. Iverson bails on Bollinger, leaves them all alone on the outside. And what I think is particularly brutal about the outside line here, me and Gene, is just how big this track is. When you think about somewhere like Daytona, you often see the outside line be where drivers want to go if they're going to run single file because that's where you can find the most speed, or really where you want to go if you're going to be going all out at the end of a race. You want to be in the outside line. I don't know if it's because of the violence of this racetrack on the entry of the corners, but what I do know, Mean Gene, is that this track is so wide that really if you're on that third lane, but you know the only lane on the outside, but you're using the third lane, you're adding too much distance to the racetrack to make any meaningful speed matter. That's how big these corners are, and I think that's what we're kind of starting to see. You do have to kind of hug them and use that non-existent second lane.
Wow, look at this. The speed of Mata. That group was running over 200 miles an hour.
We were
when they
right.
had chased down Duvall and Guerin, and now that lead group has been caught up again. And I just saw the number 9 of Kevin Brower get eaten up. Brower going another lap down. He's running back in 26th place at the moment.
At least the car looks really good. I like how that thing looks. It got that W paint scheme looking good with the chrome number. But yeah, Kevin Brower had some early struggles, and wow, you can tell right there that car's still not handling the way he wants it to, so perhaps had to use the fastest pair early and now dealing with a damaged race car as he has the next group catch him. And I just cannot get
Sean Walton.
Yep, exactly. Sean Walton's led group, and they're not trying to help him. They're trying to get around him as quick as possible. I can't get enough of that camera angle we have, me and Gene, where we see these cars whip out of the exit of the corners and just how violent it is. It's just crazy. And as these tires get older, I know I said tires don't matter a lot, but I do think they're going to matter on a long run like this. I'm very curious to see how long this fuel is going to last and how long it's going to be until these tires make this track pretty miserable to drive.
Oh, tires have got to be an issue. The way that they just whip into those turns, you would think it's going to be easy to all of a sudden just find yourself plow straight up a track, or even worse, get tight and then do the apron banking dance repeatedly. Right now, though, those two leaders, they have been caught. Jax Duval, Brandon Guerin, they have been caught. And look at the 16 of Mata all on that tailpipe of the 57. Finally, the 57 falls out of that line. Mata's going to take over that second position, and Guerin now on the outside looking in. It's like a game of musical chairs. The music stopped, and there's nowhere to go. We're going to see him fade all the way back, I would imagine.
Yeah, you're right, and that's actually the perfect way to describe what we're watching right now. I don't love what I'm seeing. It's reminding me of like the Clash a few years ago in NASCAR, where just the outside lane was so useless that, or it was vice versa then, but it was one lane. It was the outside lane was the only dominant one, to where the inside was useless. And it made no one have the confidence to be able to help when we saw something that would just happen to Guerin, where he got stuck up there. But if you're Fritz, if you're Bollinger, isn't that an opportunity to get a few spots? They weren't interested. They'd rather be in the tail end of that inside line. So maybe it was those early wrecks was enough for these guys to say, I want to chill, especially someone like Guerin who already used, or either whether he used his fast repair or has already repaired the car.
Marks on that car.
Oh,
he's
cool.
got marks on that car.
So trying to keep that one healthy now. It could be the early incidents we saw have kind of spooked these guys a little bit, because no one really wanted to take a chance, me and Gene, and we're going to start throwing some bananas out there if they don't go crazy soon.
Hey, speaking of taking a chance, Joe Volpus way off the pace. He was in that lead group, fell back to the second group temporarily.
Yeah, no,
and now that 07 Ford has fallen back into 15th place. So I'm going to keep an eye on that 7 of Volpus and see if he can hook up with this next group. But Steve Lewis is a good distance behind him, and then David Owens. So maybe he's trying to get back with his old teammates. At least Owens has Smith and Novella with him.
Yeah, not sure if he had some damage. I do see a little scuff on the right side, but you would think that wouldn't be enough. But that could just be losing the draft and it getting too far away for him to regain it, and that's all it takes for a deficit like that to form, me and Gene. It really is that important. As you see Buddy Sully desperately diving down in the back of your screen there to make sure he keeps the draft. And here we go. Looks like Bollinger may be leading.
Guerin on the outside.
Okay.
He hit the wall.
Let's go 3 right away.
He hit the wall trying to get up there with Colin. Colin, though, backing off is like, no, I'm up here for safety, not speed, my friend.
Yeah, and you see Guerin clearly getting the memo, going all the way to the bottom, using this huge racetrack. But yeah, Guerin trying to keep this thing clean, as now we have definitely an outside lane for him. So here's what I'm looking at, Mean Gene. Let's see how much they want to pinch that inside lane through the corners. Definitely trying to separate through the front and back stretch to not let the side draft play a factor. But let's watch through the corners here, how sketchy, how close and tight this gets. As the
we're back to 14 cars.
Look
14
at that.
Cars in this lead group.
Oh, and there goes Swingle to the inside of Walton to create a 3-wide situation. Walton just didn't really get the car underneath him as they entered that corner, or maybe they didn't. Swingle didn't like the line he chose, and now Walton's going to get musical chair to the back.
This is some exciting action right here. These guys, they spread apart. It was 3 groups, and now we're back to 1. Bollinger giving a nice hard push to Iverson to try to get him back up to Guerin and stay with this lead group. But still, guys to pay attention to. Still, Jax Duval ran second last week. Now he is your race leader. Michael Mata, he led most of that race last week till he ran out of gas. So again, those big names finding their way up into the front on this thing that's wide open, but lots of laps. We're on lap 27 of 65, racing to lap 37, where we will award points to the top 5 drivers.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I was about to say 32, and that's not half of 65, so thank you, me and Gene, for not being anywhere near as stupid as I am. But Jax Duval, real quick, he has been a podium-ranked driver since our championship race last season. He was less than half a second away from winning the championship. He came out and had a chance at winning our season opener, ran second place, and now here he is, leading a lot of laps at iRacing Superspeedway. Jax Duval has been exceptional for the past 3 races here in this iRacing, or I'm sorry, in this MRL league. He's been great, and from my memory as well, I believe he was great in our preseason race as well. So Jax Duval just picking up where he left off, and always a great driver at these Superspeedway races.
Oh, and my math failed me. It's 33, lap 33.
Oh, I was right for once.
I couldn't read my handwriting.
Okay, so 37 times 2 is a whole different. Oh, it's like, I don't know. I'm not putting myself in the spot. I was right. It's 32.5. So it means it's the end of lap 32 or 33.
I want to say 32 going into 33.
Yeah, because half or times. Yeah, I would agree. Right?
Yep, it is tonight.
I hope the same guy leads both laps.
Ha ha! All right, and you can see Hunter Hall fading around the back there. He's going to go another lap down.
And now Jax the Ball losing his lead there to Swingle and Mata. Mata finally making his move. Mata was such a good pusher that whole time. Really helped Jax maintain that lead. And maybe was buying his time, doing some math, and deciding that about 3 to 4 laps, whatever math is proper, is where he wanted to make his move. Now trying to hold on this lead and take home that stage win.
Yeah, a lot of hard charging right now. Outside lane, though, they've got that
back.
greater speed. And look at that 19, just push his way up into the front. Heck of a run there by Joe Amato.
He
and
will
he
not be
quickly
denied.
He abandons his buddy, Sean Walton, almost immediately. And now it's Walton on the outside with no help.
Hillman following.
Inside lane, Amato, Hillman, and Mata. Here comes Swingle. And finally, Brandon Guerin, first car to finally catch up to Walton. That outside lane vanished as soon as the 19 of Amato got to the front.
It really did. Amato just did a beast job getting to the front. He came out of nowhere. I mean, our pole sitter today clearly knows his way around this track, and now doing a great job. Was involved in an incident earlier that had nothing to do with him, really. Now leading this race with Hillman pushing him. Hillman was in that same incident, and they worked together to get to the front.
All right, pit road coming alive. I can see the 7 of Joe Volpus finally coming down the pits. Looks like he's going to be the first guy to take the opportunity.
Looks like Kyle did as well. So some guys not prioritizing stage points here, me and Gene, wanting or prioritizing the race win. And that, yeah, guys like Kyle, Volpus, you're right. As we only have about 2 or 3 to go until the stage is over.
Yeah, you can see the 8 is hooked up right there with the, who's he with, the 28?
Oh, and look at this. Look at this, Mean Gene.
Everybody coming on down.
And that was a clean job by the field. Very, very good job. We talked a lot about how difficult that was going to be. All these guys doing a great job. That's going to give Bollinger the lead. Bollinger, last week's winner, said he's going to be here racing for the championship. So this would be an important stage win if he has enough fuel. I'm wondering if these guys are running out of fuel right now. I mean, Gene, they must be, as it looks like Bollinger might be dipping it in next time. Or is he out of fuel? Is he out of fuel?
I don't hear it on the radio. He's not clicking in there.
I'm on board with him, and Gene. Here we are.
He's gonna pit. He said he's pitting, though. I just heard it on the radio.
And he sounds flat out.
It's at speed. He's still doing 181 by himself. That's about the right speed.
So he just didn't want anything to do with that draft. Here comes Bollinger, and here's how difficult it is on board from a very talented driver. That was clean. Great job by Bollinger.
Gonna bring it down to 65.
And there's the cones right there to where you have to. So he really just maximized that time. He did a good job there. So that has turned everything upside down, as here we are back to the guys who I believe have pit earlier in this race. So we've got Guerin and Medina and Fritz still out here. If Guerin leads this lap, this will be his stage. Wow.
Yeah, that's what he needs to.
Oh, how the turntables.
Yeah, Brandon Guerin, he's out there in that 57, caught up in some early stuff. I think that gave him the opportunity to pit and get a little bit of fuel so he can push this thing.
Think so too.
Behind him, Jose Medina, Matt Fritz.
All 4 of these guys, Gene, were involved in an earlier wreck.
Yeah, and then David Owens behind that, trying to hold on and maybe get himself points for 5th. But he's got Daniel Smith right on his booty. Let's see if Daniel Smith turns into a pusher to a passer coming in here at the end to try to get that last bit of points.
I'm going to assume that was the stage because based on how Guerin threw that block, that looked like a meaningful lap. So Brandon Guerin, I'm going to go ahead and say wins our stage. This guy has been up and down our field today and up and down the track quite literally, and it's not letting him deter him. And same for our 2nd place in the stage. Jose Medina, what a brilliant run he's had today. 3rd place Fritz, 4th Solly, and 5th looks like David Owens.
Owens is in the pit right now, but no one has passed him yet.
Here's the start finish line.
And he did it.
He does it. There it is.
He did it.
Yup. Just saw it right there. David Owens.
He took 5th in the pits. What a man.
Gets a point. Case of beer style. We saw that last season, winning a stage that way. I love that.
And now we start the counter, wondering when that lead group is actually going to come in.
Oh!
Oh, that was a little bit for a Fritz.
Medina came out of the corner way too hot with the group's plans, but somehow they keep it together. That was sketchy, but they worked it out. Medina has really done a good job of minimizing big moments today. So now let's see where this all cycles out. From what I can see, Mean Gene, I think Alex Hillman is going to inherit the lead of this race with Michael Mata and Joseph Mata behind them.
Yeah, I'm looking at a lot of single car back there. You got Duval in that little group. So it's a 5-car group right there at the beginning, along with the 27 as well as running with that group. That's Kevin Kyle, and he's going to fall right in behind them. Kevin Kyle is being shown a lap down right now.
Yeah, I have Kyle a lap down as well. I see smoke in front of us. That may be a caution, not sure. But yeah, I do have Kyle a lap down as well, Mean Gene. So I'm not sure when that transpired. That could have been part of one of the earlier wrecks that he was caught in, not being able to tow, or having to tow, and costing him enough time to put him a lap down. He is the first a lap down, so if we do get a caution, he will be our lucky dog. So that's all he has to hope for here. But as we're seeing, a lot of single file packs here, and the first one is led by the 08 of Alex Hillman, who did a masterful job at the end of that run, getting to the front of the field, got through the pits clean, and now finds himself in the lead of the race with Michael Mata, an excellent pusher, behind him.
Yeah, I got my wish there to see those green flag pit stops, and that's going to let that DDI driver of Alex Hillman be up there in the front. MC Motorsports, Michael Mata behind him, Joe Amata running third, Jax Duval, and they got a nice little lead right now over that next group before Eric Thornton. Right now, Thornton and Walton find themselves alone trying to catch up, and just looking at the speed, there's a little bit of a difference, as you can see that lead group up over 200, second group pushing 197. So it doesn't seem like a lot if you're in the car experiencing it, but 3 miles an hour is going to make a difference in those tenths of a second, counting it down.
Yeah, and I anticipate this group on screen right now, about a second behind them right now, to catch that group of two and form kind of a super group. And that will be, I think, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 cars, and that should be enough if they can keep it together, if they can keep it single file, to catch the group in front of them and create one giant pack again. But it's really going to be about how well they want to work together, Mean Gene. The second they get single file, because let's go put Hillman on the screen, and I'll put my money on it. They're probably not. Yep, they're single file. These guys are going to stay single file for as long as they can. They have control of the race. Motto is just as happy as Hillman is right now.
Yeah, that second group, though, that is some veteran drivers. Brandon Guerin cuts air about as good as anybody. Buddy Sully is not going to come out of there. Sully knows what it takes to win. Matthew Fritz, Colin Bollinger, all of these guys are going to just follow the leader to catch up. So that second group of 6 cars is going to do a heck of a good job to chase them down. It looks like that lead group is going to lose that lap car, so that's going to narrow them down to just a group of 4, right?
Yeah, they may, and they likely will. They can't really worry about lapped cars right now. Well, I don't know, because if you're Kevin Kyle,
27 is keeping with him. Kyle is keeping with him, so that's a group of 5.
Right, and Kyle has to care about that, Mean Gene. Like we talked about, he's the lucky dog, so he can't afford to lose any time. Mason Smalley in the 26, so let me see if I can find out where he is. Oh, in front of him. He'd love to actually catch that group, put Smalley another lap down. Then Kevin Kyle has legitimately nothing to worry about. If we get a caution, he will get that lap back, as we actually see our groups forming together right here, Mean Gene. Here we go. The super group is happening. Let's see how well they can keep this clean, as Hunter Hall to the inside of them as well.
Didn't take very long at all, did it?
It did not. It actually happened a little bit quicker than I expected. But a truck like this, with the draft so powerful, it's not surprising. And I think we'll see a lot of the same. Right now, it's 6 seconds separating this group and the group of 4 in front, or group of 5, but 4 lead lap cars in front of them. Let's see. Let's keep our eye on that. It's lap 37 right now. That's going to be the story of this race. And if it is a drastic difference, Mean Gene, oh boy, it's going to be a big moment when they catch each other.
Oh, yeah, and they'll zip right on by, and it will be violent, and it will be aggressive. Looks like Walton and Swingle were able to catch on to the end of that. And Thornton, Eric Thornton as well. He's in that one. So those 3 cars did catch on. So, yeah, the super group now of 8 trying to chase down that group of 5. So we'll see. Kevin Kyle's a good pusher, but I don't think he can overcome that 3-car differential.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. Kevin Kyle needs a caution if he wants any chance of winning this race. As we're keeping an eye on Guerin right now, giving it everything he has. They really have to push. They've already taken off about 6-7 tenths of a second that lap, Mean Gene. So based on my horrific math that I've already proven, that's not very many laps until they catch him, with a 5.6, 5.5 second deficit now. I'm thinking maybe lap 45, 46. We're going to see this group catch him. So at this point, we talked a lot about before the race, how's the race going to play out? When are the cautions going to fall? This is when it's winning time, decision-making time. When do you want to get that second fuel of gas? I don't think anyone here has enough gas to make it till the end of the race, so it's a matter of when you want to get it and who you want to come in with, and if you think there will be a caution.
Yeah, now that they're spread out, I don't think anybody can count on a caution. It really is a matter of who do I trust, who am I with, and when are we going to do it? Short pitting, I don't think will cause too much of an advantage. It's really just going to be keeping the group together. But once this group catches them before that pit stop, it's going to be a mega group.
It will, and Sully there bailing out, that's the stuff that can't happen. I'm not sure if the group, I think the group is just pushing that hard right now, and Sully may have gotten a push he didn't like. We saw it last year or 2 years ago in NASCAR, where the Toyotas were working together, me and Gene. I'm not sure if you remember this, and Bubba Wallace got it too sketchy of a push, I think it was, and just created an enormous wreck when they were trying to do essentially this, work together. It looks easy, but you have to push so hard. For example, that lap right there where they lost Sully, they lost time to the group in front of them. They lost 0.2 of a second. That lap, they need to stay formed. Again, we can go back up to the group that Hillman is leading. These guys are doing an exceptional job of keeping it single file. And look who caught up to him. The 8 of Bolander. I'm not sorry, didn't catch up to him. They passed them, Bolander and Smalley. So Kevin Kyle able to put Smalley 2 laps down there. Now the only car 1 lap down. But if that group is able to stick with Kevin Kyle, and Kevin Kyle can see this group before, that's going to get them a fighting chance against the group behind them.
Yeah, they got to do their best, especially now that they've tightened up to a little bit larger. But that super group is really coming for them. This just in from the pits. Looks like Kevin Brower, driver of the number 9 Chevy, has called it a day. So that's 2 cars officially out. Austin Merrow in the 28 has called it a day, and the Indy driver Kevin Brower down as well. Still 24 cars out here running, and we got 19 on the lead lap. Kevin Kyle 1 lap down in that lead group.
Look at this, Gene. A lack of organization on this second group. Garen got pushed out, and he had to bail to the top. I'm not sure if Fritz is trying to help him to make sure that Garen doesn't get left behind here, but this is the stuff, Gene. Look at our leaderboard, 6.3 seconds now. They are losing as much time. They've already given back the time they gained to the group in front of them. Now they're getting to where they need something to happen. Those lead cars, getting those 2 lap cars was really beneficial to them, and it's really helping them keep them ahead.
Oh, and Medina
now
bailed.
Medina gets bailed out. It's bad pushes, Gene, and it's happening time and time again. Someone keeps getting a bad push. Oh, looks like I may have just lost connection.
Or that could have been communication of like, maybe there is some fuel mileage foolishness going on, and maybe Colin Bollinger just didn't want to lead the entire time, and they're just taking turns leading in the front. I don't know.
I agree. I have no idea, Gene. You can see my screen correctly, right?
Yep.
Cool. Making sure we had a little technical issue there. Yeah, we're back on. It's going to be interesting. These guys got to keep it organized. Now they have Medina, someone who I can tell you from experience, an ex-teammate of mine, he is comfortable getting those big pushes. He's a great guy to have lead this group because they got to start making it happen, Gene. It's up to 7.3 seconds. This group is only leaving them in front of them. It's only getting uglier. They've got to figure something out here. Or, in my opinion, maybe undercut the pits, try something different. Because this group, as you see, Mata and Hillman have a moment there. Maybe this group will give them the caution they need, as Mata may be getting impatient here. Maybe talking to Amato, here we go. We may be having some 2 wide moments here in this league group soon.
I'm not sure. I think that was just a wiggle. Maybe the tires are becoming an issue. We talked about that banking being so severe, trying to stay down low. If you can come in clean and exit clean, that low line is great. But it's just so sharp. There's so many G-forces hitting those cars at that moment. And if you're trying to stay 3 feet off that bumper, bad things can happen, as you saw right there. Mata choosing to go high just in case his car got tight. So or loose. It looked like they might be getting a little bit loose right about now.
Yeah, they're starting to, Gene. They're definitely starting to get very, very loose out here. These tires are getting less and less reliable as time goes on. And these guys are probably going to have to start communicating soon about when they want to pit, when they want to make sure they can do this together and not lose too much time out here on the track.
Yeah, I'm looking at a lot of 14-second, 12-second pit time. So people were taking 4 tires. There's another car getting ate up. Is that case of beer?
Yes, it is. It looks like it is another car going a lap down here. That is going to be a big moment for Quesavir, as it's not going to get any better as this group continues to put down amazing laps together, and they're not showing any sense of selfishness here, meaning they're staying single file.
Yeah, let's see if Quesabir. It looks like they're going to slowly pull away from him. That lead team is going to pull away. So Quesabir does not hook up. That lead group does not get larger, and so that might give that second group that opportunity to close the gap. But right now, that interval is just not closing. It's still 6.88 seconds. So they need something to happen, that second group, if they think they're going to close the gap. Medina now in the lead of that second group, being pushed by Thornton and Colin Bollinger. So we'll see what it's going to take, but those lap drivers really giving extra horsepower and giving that lead group the ability to just maintain that gap.
It's starting to get a little bit smaller, nothing too sizable, down to 6.6 for Medina. Like I predicted, Medina a great leader for that group, but nonetheless, I mean, it's not enough to be, in my opinion, anything meaningful yet. We really got to see how this comes together for guys like for guys like Medina. But it's going to be tough. It's really going to come down to the cautions, things like that.
Yeah, Amato now fading to the back of that lead group. He's going to go behind the lapped cars of Kyle Bolander and the 26 of Smalley. So interesting to see now people starting to think about fuel, because that's the only explanation I could come up with of why you voluntarily are giving up positions.
Me as well. I mean, Jane, probably trying to get that right positioning so you are where you want to be when you enter the pits. But yeah, this is not the time to give up track position or risk losing the draft. I completely agree. It's going to be a lot about keeping control of what you have. Guys like Hillman, Mata, and Duvall and Amato did not work this hard to get this 7-second lead to give it up now. They got to make sure that, or they got to run this race as if it's going to stay green and keep it clean, or keep it clean the best they absolutely can. Mata starting to give a little bit more aggressive pushes to Hillman, nothing too crazy, but you can start to see a little bit lack of patience here coming from the 16.
Yeah, and I'm looking at teammates as far as that goes. That lead group has no real teammates with each other. So there's no allegiance of those lap drivers to go into the pits with that lead group except to stay on that lead lap.
No, there really isn't.
I mean, if I'm Bolander, I might be thinking to myself, I'll ditch this group and maybe get some more speed, chase down Kevin Kyle.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of different probably priorities out here and a lot of different agendas, and it's going to be really crazy to see how they come together. I mean, it's really only straightforward for this group of four here. The group behind them, and with how bad or sizable the lead has maintained and stayed, they really got to start thinking about things like
8 seconds now.
Yeah, they really got to start thinking about winning this race with pit strategy or something like that. Me and Gene, that's what. Oh, and speaking of, here comes Kevin Kyle into the pits. Kyle, along with, it looks like the 26 Smalley.
Kyle, that's going to be one car down.
Our 2 cars a lap down.
All right, so losing those cars is going to make a difference. That's going to make a big difference for the speed of that lead group, because that lead group really started to maintain the gap and even push it a little bit when Kevin Kyle became a part of that group. Without Kyle and that steady hand on that wheel pushing them, it's going to be really interesting to see how tight it can stay.
Yeah, it definitely will, me and Gene. It's going to be very, very interesting. This is probably the time where that group behind them really has to push as hard as they can to try to make the most of this time. I'm curious to see how that works out.
So 5 cars now instead. Yeah, it was 8. Now it's 7-7. It's slow. Look at it. I can visibly see it clicking. Look at Mata shooting down. They're coming into the pits. Andrew Bolander going to stay out. But those top 4 cars going to come in. Mata, Hillman, Duval, and Amato.
Yes, they are, me and Gene.
There goes that second group right on by.
Give me just a sec.
All right. Looks like we're having a little bit of connectivity. issues with Sean Walton.
All right, you got that?
Lost him for a minute, but now I got him back on the track. And Sean Walton blinked a little bit, and my camera vanished, and now he's driving by himself.
I think we may be having some server issues, me and Gene.
Yeah, I haven't heard anybody talk about it on the radio yet.
All right.
But lead group now. Jose Medina is your leader. He's going to get some points for leading a lap. Eric Thornton behind him. Richard Swingle, Colin Bollinger, last week's winner. And little side-by-side action for Bollinger with the 27 of Kevin Kyle. As Kevin Kyle has just traded groups, but he's still with the lead group.
Yeah, we're going to see all types of insanity out here. We're going to see a lot of different
How did he do
groups
that?
here now. Just pitting differently, me and Gene.
How did he do that?
I think also we're going to see different guys wanting to take tires and different guys wanting to, I think, only take fuel right now, which is really going to mix things up.
I just think it's amazing that Kevin Kyle was with the lead group. Pitts comes out, and then he's with the lead group again. That's something.
That is pretty amazing. And it's unique to a track like this as well, because it's hard to predict where people are going to come out here with how bizarrely long this track is.
All right, we are at lap 48, going to 65, so run more time. They skip the pits. That lead group continuing to push their advantage as far as they can, and they are going to need it. After that, Sean Walton is going to be the first car trying to chase them down. There is another group, Brandon Guerin, Matthew Fritz, Buddy Sully.
Yes.
They're about 3 seconds behind that lead group. So you got 4 cars with Kevin Kyle making 5. And then you got 3 cars of Guerin, Fritz, and Sully trying to chase them down. And then way back.
And is Medina our current leader?
That's who I got. He's been leading laps ever since that first group. Because that first group pitted. The second group shot on by. Medina, Thornton, Swingle, and Bollinger. And you can see Jonathan Quesabir has also hooked up with that group. Quesabir being shown lap down.
So there you go, me and Gene. That is what that will do for you. So it looks like the group behind, which was led by Medina initially, leapfrogging the group in front of them as of right now. As let's see where Mata is. There he is. 33 seconds behind. How did that happen? What went wrong
He's
there?
just waiting for them to pit. He's just waiting for them to pit.
Well, Mata should be in front of them because Medina has pit, correct? Or is Medina not pit yet? Or
No, this group has not pitted.
okay, there we go. My bad. So yeah, waiting for them to pit. I'm sorry, I'm all mixed up. I was moving over all our software. So yeah, this group definitely hoping for a caution. Absolutely hoping for a caution. Hoping to maintain control of this race. I cannot imagine how much longer they can go on fuel, though, me and Gene. It cannot be much longer.
No, and you got back, if you look a little bit further back, you can see Duval, Mata, and Amato just kind of cruising together.
Here we go.
To close that gap.
And here we go. They cannot go any longer. Medina locking it up on entry. Hopefully not a speeding penalty for him as a group of 5 brings it in. And there we go. And that will, looks like, give the lead to Bollinger. Will it?
Yep. Oh, hard contact. The 27 smashing into the 23 of Walton as they catch the slower car of Walton, putting him a lap down. Andrew Bolander and Colin Bollinger getting around smoothly.
Yeah, so
at 53, Colin at pit now.
Yeah, I'm assuming those 2 are going to have to pit soon. And man, Mean Gene, only 13 to go. This race is panning out crazy. It's going to come down to, I think, whoever had the best pit strategy is going to win this thing if we do somehow stay green. But it's becoming more and more likely the more these guys stay single file and spread apart the track. With this huge track, it gives more opportunity to that as here comes Bollinger bringing it in. Fritz behind him with Bollinger as well. And Buddy Sully.
We're going to see as they come around, Fritz and Sully got to come down as well. I think it's going to rotate around to that group of 3 of Duval, Mata, and Amato. And then after that, you can see Medina single file trying to catch up. Swingle as well. So behind him, a lot of single cars waiting for the groups to tighten back up.
Yeah, trying to get our grips here. I think it's going to be Duval who's going to inherit the lead with Mata behind him.
Mm-hmm.
That, and yeah, I believe that's Yep,
Those three
Armada.
together hooked up.
Yep, they
And
did.
I'm looking at the interval. Everybody behind them is pretty much single file.
So there is a chance this stays green. There absolutely is a good chance this stays green. And this is looking amazing for guys like Duvall, Amada and Amato and Mata. Those are another ones that are kind of hard to stay together. Because, all those guys have to do is just stay together until it's the white flag, and then they can figure it out amongst themselves.
Yep. Until you go back to 12th place of Sean Walton, who's hooked up with the lapped car, the 27 of Kevin Kyle. Everybody else is pretty much single file up until you get to the top three. Kyle racing Walton, though, not wanting to play. Oh, little contact there. Woo,
what's Walton doing? Calm down, buddy. We know that.
I'm scared.
We know Kyle was not happy with Walton after last week's race. Had some comments about him after the race, but nonetheless, this is not what you want to see, Mean Gene.
All right, so it looks like Medina is going to finally hook up with the 48 of Fritz.
Oh, Walton turns him. Walton almost turns him. That was not good at all. And here comes the 26 teammate. The teammate here comes in to help out.
For me.
And Walton wisely always let him.
There is racing on other parts of the track, but let's just keep the camera here
I'm sorry.
just a little while longer.
Let's look. Oh, and Walton bails out, wants nothing to do with it. We'll see if this escalates from here.
He does. All right, so you can see Daniel Smith leading that group right there in the front. He's in that Pennzoil 31.
Here comes Walton again.
Fine job. Yes, he is.
Walton behind Smalley. This is that's a bad push from Walton to the 26. Walton is trying to wreck the 26. I don't know what's going on here, Mean Gene. This is not looking good again. He gets the 26 out of sorts, so now he is sandwiched in between two 27 club cars.
Yeah.
We have 10 to go. I hope they can figure this out sooner rather than later.
Yeah, well, I hear on the radio right now, Walton is saying, "You're off the gas. That's not my fault."
Okay.
So, going to be interesting to see how this evolves. Kevin Kyle has got to play defensive driving. I just let the kid go by. Why ruin your race at this point?
I mean, this seems like it's to prove a point. This seems like it's a pride thing.
Wow, look at the speed as they catch this group, though.
Yeah, that's the 08 of Hillman.
Terrifying.
Hillman had such a good run going, and it just didn't come together there. As here goes Walton looking to the inside. All right, Kevin Kyle throwing a block. Oh, I'm nervous about this, Mean Gene. Here we go. And they're catching the group of Iverson. Walton turns him again into the wall. Inexcusable. Inexcusable.
The yellow flag is out.
I mean, horrible. Just.
It looked like a lot of blocking and a lot of not giving in.
I mean,
that was
a lot of pride, a lot of pathetic racing.
I think
let's get this out of the way, though, Mean Gene, because we didn't get a chance yet. So let's get this out of the way.
Yeah. Actually, I think we need a donkey and a hat together for that moment.
Yeah. That was... Here we go again. I gotta figure out.
Because you see him cut up.
Right.
You know, they had a lot of momentum, and I imagine Kyle thought he could go to the outside and get around that group.
So here's Kyle. He's on the inside. Does he come up? No. And Walton just hits him completely not square, knowing what that's going to happen. Drives through him and sends him into the wall. Luckily,
and that is your T-bone moment.
Yes, it is. What the hell was he thinking?
All right, so Kevin Kyle asking for the EOL because his car was so damaged. MRL officials going to have to take a look at that one. Walton was already on probation.
I was going to say that.
So going to be some pretty difficult decisions made over the next few hours after that. Okay, so let's think about fuel strategy. Everybody's got enough gas to make it to the end. This is lap 57. You imagine we'll go green on lap 59. So that'll be about 7 laps, because I can't do math, 6 laps of green flag racing. Okay.
And all bets are off.
Tires shouldn't make a difference. All bets are off. Everybody's going to come in or stay in line. They're all tightened back up again. And you got to be mad if you're that lead group of Duvall, Mata, and Amato. You figured the podium was decided. You know, engrave my name on the trophy, but instead, after some T-bone moment of the race.
Yeah, we have upside down after that, and if you're a Duvall, then I can't imagine how frustrated you are about that. You had this race under control, and now you have to fend off a pack of wild hyenas because someone decided to wreck someone for no reason. But nonetheless, Duvall now has a tough task in front of him, Mean Gene. One thing that we'd be remiss not to mention is that this league has 3 potential overtime restarts, and with this field bunched back up and as many cars in the lead lap as I think we have, I think we're going to use them. The only time we've seen these guys really able to get on a longer run has been when they've been able to kind of go single file and also kind of spread the field out a little bit, and none of that is about to happen.
All right, looks like we're going to have 18 cars on the lead lap. Is that right?
You
Look
got
like Steve Lewis is the lucky dog coming around.
You're gonna have to tell me, and Gene, you got the fancy software now.
Oh, fancy.
Yes,
fancy,
sir.
like French.
I'm using the old stuff.
Yeah, I should too, but here we are. So it looks like we got 18 cars on the lead lap. I see Steve Lewis. He is speeding around. I'm assuming that the 88 is going to be the lucky dog after that caution. So again, Walton involved in the latest caution, this time with Kevin Kyle, who was a lap down. Not going to do Kevin Kyle any favors as we see the cars bunch back up. Jax Duvall will be still in the lead. He's chosen the inside lane. Michael Mata.
Yes, he has. So it's going to be Duvall on the inside. I think that's going to be more about who he wants pushing him. Kind of surprising with how good Mata has been at pushing today. Not that Amato hasn't. He's been exceptional as well. But, man, Mata has been giving great pushes all day today. And it looks like we're going to have one more until we go green because there's no reason to look at that wreck any more than we had to. So
No, we've seen all we need to see.
Let's talk about the sponsor that does make the software that should be using Possible and having us here. So all I know, Mean Gene, is I said it wrong last week. So I'm going to say it differently than I said it last week. Chantilly Lace is what I'm going to go. Chantilly Lace is what I'm going to go with this week. But shout out to them.
What about the song? It's Chantilly.
Is that how it goes?
In the song?
Well, now I just sound like an idiot. So Chantilly Lace probably is what it is. Check them out. We'll have a lot more information on them next week. We'll have their website for you guys, but they are the reason why you have me and Mean Gene week in and week out. We have awesome software to work with, and we're making improvements every week. The technical difficulties are what they are, but they will not be a reoccurring thing. But thank you very much to them as we get ready, me and Gene. Here we go. Going green here.
Yep. Pace car is off. We are on lap 59. Going to have 6 laps to go. Inside car, Jax Duvall will be your control car. Coming across, and we are going green. Great jump by Jax Duvall. That's going to allow Amata to get side by side with Michael Mata. Mata stuck on the outside. Going to slam it down in front of Brandon Guerin in that 57 target car. And Jose Medina is going to be in 5th place. You know, Medina was happy for this restart so he could close back in on those leaders. Some side-by-side fighting after that behind in the field. Mata gets into the back of Amato, but everybody keeps it on the straight and narrow. And look at this single file back. Oh, Thornton going to take it up high in front of Fritz to try to make that outside row work. Buddy Sully is going to go with him. Alex Hillman as well. Looks like David Owens is a little bit shy to get involved.
Oh, around goes Medina.
Fritz up into Hillman. Medina involved as well.
Oh, brutal one for Medina. Yeah, you could see it right away there, Mean Gene, as well. No one really wanting the the outside lane there. Everyone trying to migrate to the inside as quickly as they could. As this looked like this was Medina getting loose on the entry of the corner. As let's take a look at this.
It looks like he just got loose and went down in the apron.
Yeah, keep your eye on that 54. Let's see if it was a bad push or a loose moment. A loose moment indeed as he hits the apron, steering in early like we talked about, but a little bit too much. Upsets the car. Nothing Swingle can do. He has to keep pushing. But and look at Tony Iverson, misses it by just a second.
Iverson!
How good of a driver is Tony Iverson, Mean Gene? Just the best. Just the best. And then that collects Hillman. Oh, Hillman, an innocent bystander there, and nothing to do with that. Look at that. Just boom.
No, that's too bad. Hillman led some laps here today.
He did. He had a great run going. He knows how to drive these tracks. And there goes Owens, like you talked about, going right on by. But that one,
it's like he knew. It was like he knew. He did not want to commit.
It is like he knew
to jumping in there.
It's precarious, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. All right, so drivers asking for EOLs. Looks like Jose Medina is asking for an EOL. His car is off pace a little bit. Richard Swingle also caught up in that race, asking for an EOL. So those guys are going to start in the back. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. We talked about 18 cars being on that lead lap. Yeah, so Duval managed to hold the lead. We weren't green for very long. So the usual suspects still up in front. Jax Duval, Joe Amato, Michael Mata. So that will be lap 62. Remember, we're going to lap 65 here today. Everybody has enough fuel. That will not be a problem. You can see your lucky dog of Andrew Bolander going to bring it around the outside, and that will put him back on the lead lap. So 19 cars will be on the lead lap, depending on if Medina and Swingle can stay on the lead lap after catching that damage. I see Swingle. He's in the pits right now. And he is taking 4 tires while he's there. And hey, why not? Probably going to get the fast repair. Going to keep an eye on his car. And he is out quickly. Medina also staying down on the bottom, coming out of the pits now. So they will stay on the lead lap. And then with Andrew Bolander being the recipient of the lucky dog, we will have 19 cars on our lead lap now. And Kevin Kyle being shown as the first car a lap down.
Likely our first overtime restart, Mean Gene. We'll have confirmation soon. But I'm definitely assuming this is going to be our first overtime restart, as we have 4 to go now. But it may not be. And if it's not, I welcome that.
Well,
more racing for us.
New download, right? That update. They usually go green pretty quick. I do see the lights are still on the pace car.
So this may be a 2 to go situation, but not be counted as a restart. Which again, good for us. That means if they fail to make it to the white, we get even more of them. This will be an interesting one, Mean Gene. But like you said, lots of cars still in the lead lap, and honestly, anyone from 1st to 19th, if the car is healthy, you can do it still. That's how crazy these tracks can get.
I'm really sad for Alex Hillman. I see him down in the pits. He's going to go another lap down, getting that thing repaired. It's just a sour taste in your mouth when you're leading laps, and then you get caught up in somebody else's torment.
Me too. I know.
Find yourself
I'm just. Yeah, sorry, Mean Gene. I'm super bummed for him as well. It is, and he puts a lot of pressure on himself on these Superspeedway races. He's found a lot of success in these, and that's I think the tough part about when you do put a lot of pressure on yourselves in these type of races. They're just so unpredictable.
Ooh, and David Owens getting excitable. Remember, he was the recipient of a EOL penalty for his colorful metaphors. Instead, he's using his fingers to let you know he ain't happy.
Oh yeah, I love the Owens
move.
chats. Those are always fun. But there he is. I mean, Owens in position.
Lights are off that pace car. Yeah, he's ready to go, but he probably thought he had it. He had something set up last time, but he was smart. He did not engage.
True that.
We'll see if he dives into the mess this time. Right now, Owens being shown in 11th, but he's on the inside, so he can maybe hug that apron. I'll tell you who's not on the inside, though, this time. And deep in the soup is the 13 and the 53. Those two guys are going to have to figure something out. Iverson in 9th on the outside, and Colin Bollinger in the 53 and the 11th on the outside. So those guys are going to have to watch out, because they could get ugly fast. Yep, lights are off. They're bringing it around. Coming down the front stretch, the pace car is off. This is lap 63 going into 64, so getting into those overtime situations. Here we go, green flag. Decent jump by Duval, but not enough to spread them apart. The outside lane of Amato and Thornton stays tight. Mata underneath the back bumper of Jax. Duval's given a push. Fritz, third car on the outside, stays in line. He's got the help of Iverson and Bolander. The 19 of Amato bails on Thornton. Shuts down to the inside to take the lead. Inside lane, Amato, Duval, Mata. And that is really fast. Outside lane, though, with good discipline. Going down the backstretch. Inside lane looks better, but look how close Smith is closing on the outside to make that outside lane 5 strong.
Yeah, and the outside lane has tons of momentum right now. Amato choosing the bottom right away with that great push he got. Wow, as they get really, really sketchy on the inside, or on the entry of the corner. Oh, and Fritz goes around into Iverson and into Bollinger. Big hits there. Big hits there.
Fritz, Iverson, and the 53 of Colin Bolander. That is painful.
It is, and those are a lot of fast cars there, Mean Gene.
It was, and it looked like Iverson just got his nose in there a little bit too deep, and that just spun around. We'll just have to take a replay of that, but looks like the aggressiveness of Iverson is coming up. He must have that knob in the front bumper this time, because I just can't get a hold of it.
Right? I've been trying so hard, and I agree. So let's see what happens here. Is it a push from Iverson gone wrong? Fritz coming down, linking up with Iverson. I think he thought that would be a straight enough hit, but it just wasn't. No one's fault there, in my opinion. Tony Iverson's, right?
And how does the 53 come in
and,
as well?
3 enormous hits there for Bollinger, last week's winner, Iverson and Fritz, and that's what we talked about. Just like anyone can win here. One of the best, most polished drivers who the past 2 times he's been here, he's won, can get collected in something like that of the 53 at Bollinger.
Yeah, we got to take a look at the 53 and see just how hard he pushed Iverson into Fritz. Fritz definitely wiggled and was off pace. Iverson, not sure if he had the opportunity to slow down or not. It's very hard when you got 2 tons of steel behind you pushing.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Couldn't agree more with that.
And we are going to experience our first green-white checker of the day. Pits are open. Amato and Duval fake going down. They didn't do it. Michael Mata, everybody's faking it. Brandon Guerin doesn't fake it. Brandon Guerin actually does take the invite.
Yeah, Guerin does. Very interesting. But I guess why not? So much can happen. That was our first one, and I'm sure there'll be more. I would not be surprised.
And this just in, the 53 of Colin Bollinger, last week's winner, is parking it. He is done for the day. Also getting news from MRL officials that the 27 of Kevin Kyle is our lucky dog recipient. He is bringing it around the outside right now.
See, there we go.
That's going to put him back on the lead lap. Way to go, Kevin.
Told you it would happen eventually, right?
He's been trying all day.
Yeah, he has. Kevin Kyle has never given up. He's been in the fight all day, doing a great job. And now now he's going to have a shot at it. Anyone in the lead lap, me and Gene cannot stress it enough, is going to have a shot at this one.
Well, there's a lot of them. There's going to be 18.
I believe so. I think we lost a couple that time, losing Bollinger, right?
Yep. Yeah, he is done. There is no visual. I do not have a visual on his car.
Yeah, that makes sense. These, like I said, these wrecks, they're often... They're race enders, right? When they do happen, they can end your race right away, and even with that fast repair, it makes it tough.
And the best part about that is now Kevin Kyle can come down and get fuel or tires or cigarette, whatever he needs, because he's supposed to start at the end anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, definitely. And also pretty precarious that Eric Thornton was able to capture the lead before the caution came out. That's going to be a big benefit to him, able to control this restart, even though we did see actually with that last restart, Duval not really able to do much with control of that restart. He did have it, but did not have the lead as we entered turn 1.
Yeah, it looks like Tony Iverson's up to speed. He is still moving around the track, trying to close in on that lead group.
That car does look healthy, so that was likely his fast repair. I haven't seen Iverson in too many incidents today, but I am seeing him a lap down, so that tells me he had to tow. So Iverson, our first car a lap down here, will need that last overtime restart to get used to get back on the lead lap.
All right, so 17 cars on the lead lap. Eric Thornton takes the lead. Joe Amato is up there with him. Jax Duvall, Michael Mata, Daniel Smith. Stay connected this time, my friend. And Buddy Sully. So a lot of guys are moving up. Smith 16 points better than his qualifying. Buddy Sully 18 better. So guys that chose not to qualify find themselves up at the front. There's David Owens starting in 7th. Joe Volpus 8. Sean Walton 9. Matt Novella 10. You know, this might be the farewell tour for Sean Walton. Be funny to see him take that dub and take his trophy and go home if he faces the harshest of penalties after that incident with Kevin Kyle.
Yeah, Walton's going to have a chance at it, which is going to make it very interesting. Walton's going to be in the lead
He's got
lap.
no friends. He's going to have no friends, though.
Yeah.
He's got no friends, though. We saw that last week as well, and I think that was a big part of his frustration, is he had 0 friends. No one pushed him, and no one moved out of the way.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think
He needs, I'm telling you, I said it last week, I'll say it again. He needs that Ross Chastain year of just letting people go ahead and saying, I'll push you.
I agree. And if there's anywhere you
I'm
need
your
friends
buddy,
here,
I'm your pal.
it's here, Mean Gene. This is where you need friends.
All right, pace car is off. We're going to pay attention to Eric Thornton. He's on the inside in the white. Outside, Joe Amato in that 19. Let's pay attention to Duvall and Mata. Here we go, inside lane with a great jump. Amato spins his wheels on the outside. That's going to catch up Mata and Buddy Sully. That lets the front 5 cars pass that outside lane. And Sean Walton suddenly finds himself in 5th, cuts up top with Daniel Smith. He's the 2nd car on the outside lane. Inside lane, Thornton, Duvall, Owens, and there's a caution again.
Yeah, caution already out, Mean Gene. That restart was sloppy. That did not go the way I think these guys wanted it to. It fell apart quickly, especially in the outside lane. I think that's what we're going to see here. Oh, no. It looks like Medina, the victim of this one.
On his wheels. Yeah, the 19 spun. He was the first car in the outside lane. He spun his wheels. You saw Mata tap into him, and then that accordion effect just occurred. And you could probably look at it all the way back.
Brutal netcode there. And what I see also is iRacing involved in this incident, Mean Gene. So what that means is iRacing, who would have had, so here it is. Watch this netcode here. And what we call that is when iRacing thinks 2 cars are going to touch each other, but they don't. So look at that. Yeah, Jose's car acting as if the 13 touched it, but it did not. That's what happened there, but that's going to create an incident on track for the 13 of Iverson, meaning he will not be able to get that lap back, even though he's in lucky dog position. So bad situations for a lot of our fast drivers today. Horrible for Medina, who's been so good all day today.
I think that banking is exactly what we're seeing right there. You know, your car gets a little bit loose, and you just find yourself slamming straight down the track.
Yeah, it really is that. We've seen it time and time again. So I believe, if I'm not wrong here, Mean Gene, do we have 1 more of these things left?
That is, it's saying 2 out of 3.
Wow. Wait, so 1. Yeah, was that not 2 out of 3?
I thought that was 1.
We had the first caution. Yeah, I think you're right, actually. So yeah, wow. And that one didn't take long at all. So it will be interesting to see how long these guys can make it.
All right, Matthew Fritz, I heard on the radio, said he is using his fast repair, so he was caught up in all of that foolishness as well.
Yeah, not surprised to hear that one collected more drivers than we initially thought, as you see Thornton catching the pace car there. Luckily, one
all by himself. Where's everybody else?
Right. It's in a little bit of a hurry. Don't blame him. As now Owens, look who is in 3rd place now. Mean Gene is the 11 of David Owens.
Hey, look who's in 5th place.
Yeah. Sean Walton.
23 is Sean Walton. So keeping an eye on these guys. You know, they got history. They said they'd be nice, but I've said that too.
Yeah, it doesn't always happen, and it's it's hard to make quick decisions on the racetrack, especially ones like that. A lot of exciting drivers up front, though. Also, yeah, like you said, Daniel Smith up in 4th place now. He has done a great job keeping his car clean here, as there he is there in 4th, having a chance at this one. And then Duvall and Thornton just begging for this thing to be able to stay green long enough to get to the white flag.
Yeah, it seems like Duvall's been the top 4 car all day.
He really has. Duvall's had a ton of speed today. He's been super impressive. Been fun to watch him, and all season Duvall's, like we said, has been showing that speed. So nothing out of the ordinary today for Duvall, and he's definitely have a chance at this one, and we know he's someone who will make those aggressive moves to get it done in the end.
All right, so as far as teammate goes, Eric Thornton, he is a privateer. Nobody out there with him. Duval, part of that East Coast Alliance. He doesn't have any team members near him to help. David Owens, he joined Iverson and Sully, so he's got no teammates around him. Daniel Smith, privateer. Sean Walton, he's got 0 friends. Sean Walton must feel like he's playing against the Kansas City Chiefs at this point because it's all against him. After that, you got Jack Sanders. He's part of 2X Racing. And Joe Amato is next. And I believe Amato is part of Wise Guys.
And Amato bringing in the pits here, man, Jane.
I just named the top 7 drivers, and that is 7 different teams.
Yes, it is. And Amato
Or privateers.
Giving up his track position here. I'm not sure if it was maybe a fuel issue. But Amato, nonetheless, bringing it in here, giving up that 6th place spot. It's going to give 6th to Jack Sanders, and then Amato will be in 7th.
Interesting strategy. Maybe he knows something we don't know.
I mean, the more that we go into overtime, Eugene, we're running laps of this race that were not scheduled. This is a 65-lap race. We're on lap, what, 68, 69 now?
Yeah, and remember, a lot of guys tried to cut this thing into thirds, so they're doing exact mileage, and then you just add on an additional 5-6 laps at 3 miles a pop. That's 18 miles. And this ain't your Toyota Corolla that they're out there in. These are high performance engines burning that gas.
Yes, sir.
But
kind of here.
Lights are off that pace car. We're going to see what we can get into here. This is going to be our 2nd attempt at a green white checker. Remember, we only have 3.
Only.
We might need it. I hope not.
I don't know. Be fun, right?
I hope we don't need it. No. I want to see that finish.
You're the one who wants violence. Oh, yeah, you're right. At the end, we don't want it. But hey, let's use that last one.
All right, so 17 cars on the lead lap. Joe Amato being shown as 17th in the back. He's back there with Joe Vulpes, so 8th row Joes instead of front row Joes.
All the way in the back behind lap cars is Amato.
That hurts. All right, so we're looking up at the front, though. A couple of white cars, white and green, white and red. The white and green of Thornton. The one is your control car on the inside. He's going to have Owens pushing him. Daniel Smith pushing on the outside. Here we go. Good start by that inside lane. Looks like we're clean up front as far as this push goes. We're clean in the middle, and we're clean toward the back. Great start for the field. Eric Thornton takes the lead. Owens pushing outside is Duval getting a push from Smith. Inside lane looks hooked up. Hopefully they can keep it together.
Oh my goodness! Oh wow!
Becomes her. The 31 just got into contact with Jax Duval.
And Duval gets destroyed, Mean Gene. Absolutely destroyed there.
I was watching Walton thinking it was who can kill this guy for a situation.
I know.
Instead,
and we get a twist. What went wrong here for the 84 Duval? Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a missed push here from the 31. They're trying to link up. This is just, it's sketchy pushing in the corners. You're not supposed to do it, but with 3 to go, 2 to go.
And look at the 16 doing no favors to Walton.
Yeah, I mean, Walton shooting the middle. I don't know why.
He held it, though. Good for you.
And then, oh my goodness, Duval.
Oh, that's a Disney ride.
Remember the fatal thing I said earlier? That would have been one of them. That was a brutal hit from Duval. And I think the hits kept coming. It's just like, yeah, there's the 57 of Garand. Gets sent around by the 26. Not his team, I'm sorry. By the 26 of Smalley.
Oh, I missed this.
Yeah, it happened right after. It looks like Garand, once again, though, able to lock it down. Pretty minimal hit. He should be okay. But nonetheless, that's a massive hit for Duval. Never even bothered trying to drive that thing back. That was absolutely not going to happen. Immediately towed, and that's going to be the end of any chance he had to win this race with our lack of restarts left.
Yeah, Jax Duval, he's putting it in the trailer. And in fact, I'm looking, and it looks like Duval has switched over into a pair of Daisy Dukes, and he is waiting down there by Daniel Smith's trailer. So high excitement going to happen at the end of this one.
Duval is that Ricky Stenhouse name right now?
Somebody needs to be.
Yeah, right. It's been a dramatic season.
Beating up Sean Walton doesn't count. You know, like that's everybody has just taken a shot at the 23 of Sean Walton. So saying you're mad at him is no longer impressive for anybody. I mean, tell me another story.
He is going to be starting third here. Look at this, Mean Gene. This has to be a fuel thing. Here comes the
we're all
31.
coming in.
31 coming in. Behind him, I believe.
He might have some front end damage, though.
It couldn't be enough to want to give it that trap position.
There might have been some. What if there was some net code issues? Because Walton was up high and close and in a weird proximity to the 84 of Duvall.
Yeah, that is
Smith
true.
was part of that as well. So who knows what kind of data was streaming for iRacing at that point?
Well, we just saw it there, Mean Gene, with the 31 of Smith. He was in and out real quick. The tires never came out. That was all fuel. And even right there, I believe that's Smalley, is that? That is. Yes, it is. I'm sorry, that's not Smalley. Who are these new paint schemes that I am doing a horrible job of recognizing? Because there is a car in front of the 31 that just was able to leapfrog him, Mean Gene. I think needing less fuel, but fuel is absolutely becoming a factor here. It does make me worry about guys like Eric Thornton, even Owens and Walton.
Well, Thornton's in a Chevrolet, so it's going to be tough on him. But David Owens, he's in a Ford, so he might have that Joey Logano fuel line.
Yeah, those have that. That's not a fake thing.
So
That's
he'd
for
be
real.
okay. And after all that foolishness, David Owens is in second, Sean Walton in third. And how about Kevin Kyle making his way up into 8th place?
Yeah, we're drama makers, so we should talk about the two guys that were victim or part of one of the most egregious intentional wrecks we've ever seen in this series, running 2-3 now as we go to our last overtime.
Yeah, last week, a little bit of aggression. We saw Sean Walton take tires late. A lot of the leaders did not. Walton, he passed 12 cars in 4 laps to make his way up into 3rd place, and then suddenly finds himself side-by-side racing at Charlotte for 3-4 laps in a row with Owens. And frustration levels, he just turned hard right on a straightaway.
Listen to this, Mean Gene. Listen to this. Sorry to cut you off. Listen to Thornton here. Watch when he lets off. You hear that? The engine is off. He is turning the clutch on. Off. That's how you know. So let's go to the 11 of Owens here, though. No such concerns. Oh, no. See, look. He's letting it idle.
He's idling it.
He's in 5th gear right now. He is not concerned about gas. Thornton, however, is probably going to use the banking here to try to save a little bit of gas. I'm worried about that one. But he only needs to do it for 2 more laps.
Hey, this is it.
This is it. You're right. This is it.
Next flag ends this thing.
And he chooses the outside, so he wants Mata as his pusher, which, hey, that lines up Owens and Walton. Let's do it.
Owens and Walton. This is where Walton could get some street cred, though.
Yeah.
If he lets off and pushes, if he glides in, drags the brake just a little bit, and finds the sweet spot, he could get some cred back. It's going to take more than one act of kindness to get back on good standing with this league, but this could be a definite start, and nobody knows how to win better than David Owens. So these two guys could punch it together, and guess what? Let me help you, help me help you. And that's the situation, because Owens, he could win it, and if Walton with the right moves might find himself in a 2nd place.
Yeah, no, you're right. Oh, good push could go a long way.
That outside lane ain't going to give it up. That outside lane ain't going to give it up. Thornton, Mata holds that outside line about as good as anybody in the track.
Watch for Thornton to get the push he wants from Mata and immediately go to the bottom here, Mean Gene.
And what about that 3rd row? You got Swingle and Sully, and then that 4th row, Bolander, and then Kevin Kyle. Kevin Kyle, such a good pusher as well. All right, let's pay attention. Eric Thornton on the outside. He is your control car. They hit the green flag.
Whoa.
Good start by Thornton, but look at Walton timing the bump. The perfect bump to get Owens side by side. No, he doesn't do it. Thornton comes down in front of Owens. Walton trying to push. Let's see if he can push in the right spot. He does let off. Good driving by Walton there to stay with Owens. And then he goes to the no-no spot. Lets off. This is really good driving by Sean Walton right now to try to push David Owens up past outside lane, finally getting speed. We're going to go 3 wide with Kevin Kyle on the outside. Walton loses control, goes into Mata. Mata comes down into Owens. That's going to end it. And I think Kevin Kyle on that outside, he might have done some magic.
Who won that race, Mean Gene? We're going to find out as they cross the line.
I think it might have been Kevin Kyle.
We're going to find out as they cross the line. It may be Thornton. It may be Kyle. We'll see. It doesn't really matter who crosses the line. It matters what iRacing scores it. It may be Kyle. Oh, man, Mean Gene. That was an interesting one. It was good driving from Walton, but it got sketchy at the end. He was doing his best. It wasn't coming together. Thornton did what he thought. Here we go across the line. Kevin Kyle. Kevin Kyle has gotten it done, Mean Gene.
Wow. This guy, I mean, he's 2 laps down, gets it to 1 lap down, but he was so fast. He was pushing that lead group for the longest time, maintained that 8-second lead. He showed that he knew how to push, how to be a good teammate. And then at the end, all of a sudden, Kevin Kyle pushes out, makes it 3 wide. Mata got a little bit loose with Walton, and they got into it. And boom, Kevin Kyle is your winner here at the iRacing Superspeedway.
He just has to bring it home, or he just has to bring it around one more time, Mean Gene. You never know what's going to happen. We've seen disconnects. We got 1 to go under yellow, and then Kevin Kyle will be our winner. But if he does this, Mean Gene, let's give one to the production boys. This guy knows how to get around a super speedway. I mean, he knows how to get around any track. This guy is a stud. It's awesome to see Kevin Kyle do it. He's running a part-time schedule in a lot of MRL leagues, a lot of BRL leagues, but he's put in so much work to make these broadcasts happen, and I cannot express to you how awesome it is that we get to commentate him winning one of them, Mean Gene. Because here he comes.
Gonna bring it around. He's chasing the pace car. The pace car's in the lead. He's not gonna catch the pace car.
Does he have enough fuel?
No doubt. I'm worried about Daniel Smith making it.
And Kevin Kyle, the pole man, gets it done at the iRacing Superspeedway, and that's why, ladies and gentlemen, John Cena says it, but so does Kevin Kyle. Never give up.
Never. And the first person that Kevin Kyle was thanking, he said he gave a shout out to Sean Walton.
Oh man, awesome. I guess.
Okay, so we're gonna bring this thing around and see exactly how we end up with our finishing order as the cars are taking turns coming across. So your winner is going to be Kevin Kyle, driving that 27 Chevrolet. Second place, Richard Swingle.
There were so many wrecks across the start finish line. I can't even find the one to end the race.
Andrew Bolander is going to finish in 3rd. So how about that? Kyle and Bolander both laps down.
Where is Kevin Kyle here, Mean Gene?
Managed to make their way up.
This is how our race is going to end.
He's in the 27.
So there's Thornton.
He's in the 27.
And look how far back Kyle is.
Yeah, this is definitely the move of the race right here.
Oh, yeah, that's an easy one, isn't it? Gonna be hard to find.
So watching this replay, he's 3 deep. He's the 3rd car on the outside, and here it is. Look at them get loose. Kyle at this point decides to make the move.
Watch the 16 on Mata. I think that's where it's gonna start. And yeah, that's the move right there.
Oh, he cuts right up in front of Vulpes, and Vulpes is just gonna give him enough momentum.
And with the 23
and
kicks
here's
it
where it
4
gets
wide.
Scary. Look at Walton.
It is Walton, Mean Gene. Again, just doing. I'm over it. So he just goes 4 wide and creates this disaster of a wreck. And look at the 27 with the Red Seas parting. All he can see is the checkered flag, and Thornton not close enough, Mean Gene. I'm trying to get us a good look. There it is. Look, there's the gap. Wow. And Mayham behind them.
Beauty.
Absolute
what an
beauty.
insane finish. All right, so again, Kyle Swingle, Bolander Fritz, Smalley finishing 5th, Matt Novella 6th, Steve Lewis going to finish 7th, great run by Louis, Daniel Smith 8th, David Owens 9, and Michael Mata is going to fall to 10th after being caught up in all of that foolishness. Really interesting end of the race, but this is exactly what you predicted, Zach, was that we were going to see some chaos, especially there at the end, suspect tires on that over 30-degree banking coming in and out, dirty air, drafting, side drafting, causing a serious conundrum of incidents.
Yeah, I mean, it is like the iRacing Superspeedway race that we anticipated all happened there at the end. with what was it, 3 laps over and over again. All we had to do was get to the white flag, Mean Gene. All it was 1 lap we had to do, and it took us every try, and we never did it. We never got to the white flag, and that's not these guys. No. That's this track. And what did I say? I think it was before we went green for the last restart. Don't count out 17th place. Don't count out 16th place. Anyone can win this race, and that's exactly what we saw happening. The guy who was running, I think, in 11th, 9th place, seconds before the race ended, is the guy who won the race.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and do a few interviews. We're going to do the top 3, and then one bonus guy, Zach. I'm going to put that one on you. Who would you like to interview?
Do we have Jose Medina here still?
People? Let's take a look as I go up. I am afraid you are not going to get Jose.
Let's get Jax the ball then.
All right.
He had a chance to win this thing, didn't he?
I think he did. All right, I'm going to pull him down. He definitely ran up front all day.
He did.
All right, he's in there. Get him.
Jax, we got you, man.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, man, great run today. You did awesome, and you were in there until the very, very end. Take me through that last incident you had that ended your race, and what your plan was going forward. You guys had an awesome 7-second gap before that last caution, so take me through your race today.
Yeah, I mean, hooked up with some guys that we all hit pit road perfect. I was hoping to at least get the top 3. Didn't really care who won it. And once we got that caution, everything just went out the window. Tried our best to keep the car clean. Got clipped in the quarter, and it sucks. It happens.
Yeah. Was that like a bad push, or just a push gone wrong, and just in product of Superspeedway racing?
Yeah, it's just trying to get too much out of it. The guy behind me, I guess, just I don't know. Yeah, you have to line up in these corners at this track because it's such a deep incline, and it's aggravating. But we'll move on.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of just the steep incline, everything about iRacing Superspeedway, and you as someone who I have shared very many Superspeedway races with, and I know how much of a killer you are at these tracks. Take me through how much different this monster is compared to somewhere like Talladega.
It's just how steep it is, and the draft really matters here. You have to have at least 3 to 4 cars pushing each line, whatever line you decide to take. But here, the bottom line is the dominant line if you can hit it right. And you just got to have patience and know how to push here. I love this track. It's one of my favorites. I love all super speedways.
Yeah, I love it. I love this track too. It's so ridiculous. It's just fun. And then, so before I let you go, Jax, I won't remind you of it too much, but yeah, inches away from winning the championship. But since then, it's just been a lot of the same. You ran 2nd place last week, had tons of speed at a track that you're comfortable with. And today you looked like one of our dominant cars. Do you feel like there's a new sense of confidence here as we enter this season, especially with how close you were last year? Or are you just tearing it up so far and just hoping to ride this wave?
We're just going to keep ripping it. We're going to play it smart. Every race I'm going to play it smart, stay in the back. I just want to be there to the end. So once we get halfway and towards the end of the race, we'll amp everything up, and I'm going to go for the win every single time.
Smart way to be, especially with these no faster pairs. It's an adjustment to make with a lot of other leagues having them, and yeah, that's definitely, we saw it today, even with 1 faster pair, the plan to have. So very, very smart. And yeah, it's worked out for you. So congratulations on another great race today, man. Showing tons of speed. And anyone you want to give a shout out to before you get out of here?
Shout out to East Coast Alliance. They were there the whole day. Good win. Kevin Kyle, glad he got the win. It's the new guy up there, so in the victory lane. Good to see. So yeah, we'll just move on.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, guys.
I'll tell you what, always a class act, huh?
Oh, always. Jax is awesome. Great guy. And yeah, I mean, I can't say I'd be as nice as he is right now after that. I mean, not like it was even bad, but man, it stinks.
Yeah, he led a lot of laps to have it fall apart there at the end. But you know what? Still hell of a good day. Speaking of hell of a good day, I'm going to go to the 3rd place car right now. That is the number 8 Toyota, Andrew Bolander. Andrew, you got your ears on?
That's 2nd place, isn't it?
Nah, I got Swingle as 2nd.
Oh, I have no idea. You have the better data than I do.
No, Swingle is not 2nd. Bollinger's 2nd. I'm 3rd.
Yeah, Fritz. I got Fritz 3rd, Bollinger 2nd.
Why is this doing this to me?
You want to take Fritz?
Stupid iRacing. All right, who's third?
Fritz. I got him here.
Fritz, welcome back, Matthew. Hey, you had to use. All right, Matthew, good job today. You had to use a caution, fast repair there at the end, though, right?
I did, yes.
So take me through that. I mean, it didn't look like that big of a whack.
Oh, I had no hood on my screen, and yeah, I think Tony was just pushing me too hard, and the car just jumped out, and then all three of us went into the wall flying, and yeah, it was destroyed.
Well, you picked a heck of a day to come out here by yourself. Venom Racing, Justin Parham, Jay Stinson, neither guy was there for you today. Were you worried about not having teammates on such a large super speedway?
Yeah, I was. I'll have a team meeting about that with them. No, I'm just joking. They had to do stuff going on. No, yeah, I was worried about it, but I think I've made a good name for myself out here, so people like to work with me. So I just latched on to anybody that wanted to go up there and race.
Well, right now you got 3 guys on your team. A lot of these teams go 4 deep. I got a couple of fun names for you maybe to think about. That'd be Eric Thornton and Andrew Bolander. Both those guys are free agents. I don't want to be the worm whistling in your ear, but those 2 fellas seem to be awful fast as well. There was a lot of confusion on those last couple of restarts, and a lot of dangerous driving. Do you feel like that benefited you, or were you preparing for it? Because it seemed to just escalate with the same individuals.
Oh yeah, I was prepared for it after I got wrecked. Yeah, I was like, well, just sit in the back and wait for the other big one, because I knew it was coming. Because coming down the end of the race, it's just like a real NASCAR. Everybody just turns their brains off, and they want to win.
Yeah, especially with the banking on this thing. Were tires really a bigger issue on this super speedway with this level of banking than the others?
I only changed tire once, so no, it wasn't that bad.
It was just having that right angle when you come in and just kind of hold it through.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't run it yet, but I downloaded it and it looks terrifying. It looks like a wall when you're standing in front of that thing. So, hell of a good day. Number 8 Toyota driver Andrew Bolander, 4th place. I'm sorry, Matthew Fritz, making up for what happened last week, coming through with a strong 3rd. Anybody want to give a shout out to, Matt?
Yeah, I gotta thank my mom's watching, my grandmother's watching. My mom's business is on the car. I gotta thank Jay not being here. He was out celebrating, watching football. And Justin, I gotta thank them, Venom Racing, and I gotta thank you guys. You guys do a hell of a good job.
Well, it is our pleasure. You guys continue to just put show on for us every time. It seems like when we tune in. Golly, did you choose not to qualify? Would you start 23rd?
Yeah, I didn't qualify.
You said, I don't need anything to do with the middle of this bag.
Yep.
All right, I'm finally up to speed. I can see it. All right. Well, Matt, good job, buddy. Keep it up. And I'm loving seeing. It seems like you're a little more aggressive this year, putting your nose into spots a little bit quicker when you have that opportunity. I can't wait to see how the rest of your season goes, man. Have a good night. You earned it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, me and Gene, we got Andrew Bolander in here. We got you, Andrew?
Yep, you got me.
Man, just like Kevin Kyle, you were the definition of never give up, because you were all over the field today. Long day. How did you manage to get back up front and take home a 2nd place finish at the end of this thing?
Very lucky. That's all I can say is very lucky.
Hey, better to be lucky than good, is that what they say sometimes? But hey, you're both. You definitely had a good run today, and yeah, it definitely got crazy there at the end. What were your thoughts? I mean, you just heard me and Gene talk about how it's hard to predict this one, and as the race went on, you could kind of pick and choose who you wanted to run with. What were you thinking as we had like 20 to go and we had those big differences throughout the field?
I was hoping for more wrecks so I can get back on the lead lap, because I was stuck a lap down, and there's the first caution came out, and I guess iRacing glitched and it didn't give me my lucky dog. So I was pretty mad, and I was hoping for another wreck.
Hey, and you got that and then some, so that worked out for you. It's been awesome seeing you here this year, man. We got you full time this year?
As long as I'm awake, yes.
Yeah, those are often the team managers, and it's really up to their schedule. But hey, man, it's great having you out here, and didn't take long for you to put down a performance that already got you on the marks here, a 2nd place. Great job. Anyone you want to give a shout out to here?
Yeah, my my group chat, Colin Bollinger, Sean Walton, Daniel Smith, and D. Smith, all them. Sorry's in the chat with us.
Congratulations on the run today, man. Can't wait to see more of you, and good job today. That's why you never give up.
Yep, never give up, and we're gonna get this in this car in victory lane.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful car. You got to.
Yeah.
Congrats,
need the old Kyle Busch back too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Missed that paint scheme.
I do too.
Well, Mean Gene, there's only
one guy another fast Wednesday night guy coming over and laying down some burners.
Yeah, they're making
their way up under the podium.
Their last names sound the same, and they're making their presence known.
Yeah, the other one though, he ended up getting victimized there at the end with the 23rd place finish, but
brutally.
Andrew, he held it down for the team. And you're right. Speaking of holding it down, returning to MRL, it only took 2 races. The winner, Kevin Kyle, the driver of the 27 from 2X Racing. Kevin, you got your ears on.
That's Big 10-4 there, Mean Gene. I got them on, and they're loud and clear. Come on.
I tell you what, they're not. How can they be loud and clear with this audience just screaming? I can hear them chanting KKKKK.
Whoa, Gene. That's too many Ks, Gene. Go take it easy. This is YouTube.
Kevin, I'll tell you what, bud. You were laps down. Then you got involved in an incident which gave Bolander your lucky dog. I was worried. At any point, did your confidence go down? Did it wane? Or were you just thinking, it will be my turn?
No,
I will get it back.
You know, when I lost the draft from Joe gave me a really good hard push at the beginning, and I had to back off of it not to get into Austin, I believe. And I just got out of shape, and I was like, you know what, I'll just get out of the way, not cause any issues, try not to. And then I lost the draft, and then I was like, okay, when's the yellow coming out? And then it was just demoralizing. You know, each time a pack would go by me and I couldn't get the draft, it was like, yeah, it was demoralizing. And then I was just like, I'm not going to give up, just see what happens. And then, and then luck events, happen. I took, just want to dedicate this race to Sean Walton, though. I really appreciate all the hard work he does, and just couldn't do it without him today. So Sean, if you're listening out there, thank you for wrecking me again. And this time it had fruitful results. So Sean, just like I said, dedicating this one to you, man. Thank you.
I thought the win would be enough, Mean Gene, to make him not bitter, but I guess not.
No. Well, that being said, you knew you were fast, though. There was a moment when you were a lap down and you tagged on to that lead group, and you were able to not only let that group hold that 6-second lead, but you increased that lead to 8 seconds, sticking with them. So we knew you were fast. Then you pitted and came out and hooked up with the next lead group. So really some advantageous pit strategies.
Yeah, that was all luck, Eugene. No, that was all luck and just hope. That was just all luck. There's no way I could have planned that out. Like, I'm in the, you know how it is when you're driving a car. Like, if you could do all that stuff, that's amazing. But that was just pure dumb luck that I was able to come out where I did, and all those things happened. And then I took a little bit extra. I came in and topped off, and I had the lucky dog because I knew in case we had a lot of green-white checkers, I wouldn't run out of fuel. So that gave me the opportunity to come in while other guys stayed out. And then, dude, you guys saw it. It was crazy. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I'm still in disbelief.
So people were running out of fuel there? Sorry. I mean, people were running out of fuel. That was the issue?
Yeah, people were running out of fuel. Like, I think Joe ran out of fuel. Joe Amato might have ran out of fuel. And, like, people were having to come in and top off because, like, even my teammate Jack Sanders, he had to come in after that second yellow, I believe, and top off because he was going to run out of fuel. So, yeah, people were running out of fuel there at the end. And
there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
We saw Thornton having to turn it off and clutch it. That was something. Now, at the end there, when you made that move, you cut up pretty sharp up in front of Vulpes. Did Vulpes give you that little push? Did you guys make contact?
Yeah, he was able. He definitely pushed me this time, but I couldn't have made that move without my teammates. I think it was either Austin or Mason yelling at me to move up. He's like, go to the outside. And then, like, I saw Joe coming too, but hearing that voice, I was like, let's do it. And then I saw the replay and I barely missed getting hit. So it's crazy race, man. There's a lot of times you do that and you get wrecked and you're like, but it's just luck of the draw, man. Like all that stuff, just luck of the draw, being in the right place, and yeah, crazy.
Well, if you didn't do it when you did it, if you'd have been one car back, you'd have got it caught up, because Joe Vulpes ended up getting caught in that hurricane as it came forward, that just maelstrom of destruction.
Correct.
But still, hell of a move. That is definitely the Mean Gene money move of the race. Kevin Kyle pushing to the outside, encouraged by his teammates whistling in his ear and getting that great push from that 07 of Joseph Vulpes, and then just the mayhem that occurred again. Mata, all those guys so fast, but Kevin, even though a lap down, your car speed was just right on pace with those guys. And being at a super speedway, it just comes down to the decision making, and that decision you made at the end just powered you to the front. 2 races, only took you 2, and now you punch your way. You've got that Willy Wonka golden ticket. Aspirations for a MRL championship dangling in front of you?
I mean, I wish, like, I just being honest with myself, like I'm some mediocre driver. I have good tracks and bad. I'm still learning. But now I think my focus is just helping my teammates get better. And Mason, Jack, and Austin, I couldn't ask for any better teammates for 2X Racing. And but yeah, I think now the focus shifts to them and getting them, good points each race and trying to get them up to front for a win now.
There you go. And I just practice a little bit at Homestead every week just to do it.
Correct. That's rush. Hey.
Just get on that simulator and get you a little rush. All right. Anybody you want to give a shout out to before I let you go, Kevin?
Yeah, 2X Racing, MRL, and all the staff. Of course, you guys with this wonderful broadcast. It's taken leap and bounds since you two have taken over it and just ran with it. So I just want to congratulate you guys for that. And then last but not least, Sean Walton. Still couldn't do without him. And yeah, hope not to be seen from him anymore, but we'll see.
Well, there it is. That's your winner, KK, laying it down as best he can. He did donuts and he gave smoke on the track, and then he just gave a little smoke in that interview. But like I said, Zach, taking a shot at Sean Walton, that's not a surprise, and it's not, it's not a big deal. I think at this point, Sean has to just grow some thick skin and be ready to be a punching bag for a lot of people. But the story today, Kevin Kyle going to pilot that thing to a victory, punch his way to the championship 12. And this thing is just starting to heat up again. This is race number 2 of our 12 race season. And is this the move right here?
Oh, yeah. Let's take a look at it, Mean Gene. I mean, we're talking about it. We got the guy here. Here we go. Real time. Keeping our eyes on the 27. Take me through it, Mean Gene.
All right. So the 27, he is going to be the 5th car back. There's a big wreck outside. You can see now he's the 3rd car back on the outside. He is just going to cut up as hard as he can. Oh, actually, I think he took us a few laps back.
I think I gave you the wrong one, didn't I? There's so many. Here you go. There you go.
Yeah, so many restarts.
I'll even hit the graphic again. There we go.
I love it. Money.
Now keep your eyes. This
All
better
right,
be
so
the one.
You got Mata, Swingle, and then you got Kevin Kyle on the outside. Kyle is that 27 car, 3rd car deep on the outside. He's got his buddy Marrow right behind him. That's his teammate. Marrow screaming at Kyle, go up, go up. At that point, Kyle comes up in front of the 7 of Vulpes, gets a good push. That's when the insanity occurs on the inside, creating a maelstrom of destruction. But with that speed, Kyle is able to power through it, get through. He brings Andrew Bolander with him. And that's going to be the money moment of the race, as Kevin Kyle is going to pilot that thing home and become one of our 12 drivers that will compete for our Season 4 MRL Championship.
Awesome move, Mean Gene. And I mean, Kevin Kyle wants to say it's luck, but it's really not. It to me, it's a lot of just doing these races over and over again and knowing the right place at the right time. And obviously having a teammate like that to say, go high, whether that was his teammate behind him who saw what was unfolding in front of him or someone who was already out of the race, able to spot for him, which is a huge advantage as well. That is beneficial, but it takes a lot to make that move, believe in your spotter, and then execute it. And he doesn't pass Thornton if he isn't wide the hell open there, does he?
No. And I think I think it was his teammate directly behind him screaming, and so they were able to time like when I push you, the perfect moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I build momentum, and I know when I'm about to give you the good push, and that's when you need to make that move.
And I agree, Gene. And this is
really
potentially
really slick move there.
The wrong time to bring this up. Why didn't Thornton come in second place? Where did he finish? 11th.
Yeah, I think he got caught up in the madness.
No, he's right there. I think he was disqualified for incidents, Mean Gene.
Ooh, that's no bueno.
Oh, I mean, Thornton not even something that we point out for being aggressive in this race. Just a matter of being around them, right? We talked about wrong place, wrong time so much today. I'm going to go ahead and assume that's what that was for the one of Thornton, who, in my opinion, deserves second place finish.
Well, you had a heck of a good day all day.
Oh, yeah.
You heard me when I was talking. When I was talking to Venom Racing, when I was talking to Matthew about picking up a teammate, that was one of the first names I've said.
Yeah, he's a great driver. If he's a full-timer, he's a must pick up if you're looking for a teammate, because that guy is capable of winning week in, week out. I mean, just wait till we get to where we're turning right, me and Gene. That guy can turn right with the best of them. He's a great road course driver as well. So yeah, precarious thing right there that I just now realized and wanted to bring up. Walton in 10th as well, so I'm not sure if that was also an incident penalty. It may have been, but a lot happened there at the end. I mean, you see Novella in 5th, so a lot of interesting stuff. Smalley in 4th there, so great finish for him. The point situation going into race 3 is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, not uploaded yet, unfortunately, so we're not able to tell you who takes what from whom, but we'll get there and we'll talk about it. We'll have a little graphic for you guys at the beginning of next week, which will be very exciting for us to see. Next week, we'll be at Auto Club, so that'll be another fun opportunity for some draft-like situations and some pack racing.
Yeah, we'll be there back-to-back days, me and Gene. You can catch you and I on Sunday in the BRL Bonfire Racing League, covering the same track at with the same car, with a few familiar faces if you guys are used to this league, but also a lot of other talented, very, very talented drivers. I can't wait to make the trip to California. You can see my home state, me and Gene. I can show you around, and we're going to be spending 2 days covering 2 awesome races at one of my favorite tracks in the world.
Did I bring a respirator? Like, how close are we going to be to LA?
Oh, don't bring that up. Yeah, we should have honestly even talked about that on the last 2 broadcasts. I'm glad you just brought that up. If you guys, it's not over yet. The winds are still brutal out here in SoCal. It's not getting much better. The Pasadena fire and the Eden fire are not contained yet. So if you do feel so inclined, please donate. Some great places to donate are the Los Angeles Fire Department or Fire Organization. You can Google them, and that is just resources for the firefighters who are putting their lives on the line to fight these fires. Then also for me personally, I'm sure I've made it obvious. I'm a huge animal person. I'm an animal lover, especially dogs. And so many dogs were misplaced during these fires. Over 400 dogs up for adoption now, me and Gene, that weren't before these fires happened.
Oh.
So the Pasadena Humane Society is another great place to donate. They are more than overflowing with dogs up for donation now, and you can't judge the owners. You don't know the situation they're in. Who knows where they are and what they're dealing with, but a lot of dogs in need for homes and at least for resources and food and things like that. So a lot of great places to donate right now. And yeah, honestly, me and Gene, if I was in LA a couple nights ago, and you should be wearing respirator still, it's not great out there still. It's still very scary.
It's no good. Hopefully they'll get that under control here pretty soon. I'm doing some pretend math in my head about the standings. Colin was the leader, but Colin, rough day today, finds himself
23rd
down in 23rd.
Yeah. Where did Owens finish last week? Because I'm looking at Owens with the 7th place today. That's a nice finish. Novella even able to piece together 2 good finishes, even though he's been cut up in a lot of incidents.
11th. Owens was 11th. He was 24 behind the leader.
So Owens will be an interesting one. I know
Bolander was only 15 behind the leader.
Yeah, Bolander had some issues last week. How about Fritz?
I think Bolander's going to push himself up.
I think him. Don't
Fritz
discount.
was 24 behind the leader.
Okay, and Mason Smalley as well with the 4th place today. I think he may have taken home a good finish last week too.
33 behind.
Oh wow, never mind. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm looking at guys like Daniel Smith, he had a great 6th place today, but he did not have the finish he deserved last week. It's going to take a little bit of time for us to really see this take shape. I mean, we're not talking about guys like Tony Iverson, another rough finish today, had one last week as well. That's going to stop eventually. But these big fields, Mean Gene, really mixing it up quite a bit.
Yeah, so I'm thinking Kyle and Bolander.
Yeah, we had Kevin Kyle last week, right?
Because, yeah, he was only 20 points behind the lead.
So, yeah, I like Kyle's chances. I like Bolander as well.
Bolander was 15 behind the leader. So I think those are two guys to take a peek.
Yep. Owens as well. Jack Sanders showing that consistency that won him the championship. A lot of faces out here, Mean Gene.
Yeah, I like seeing everybody close.
Me too.
You know, I think that makes it exciting. And I think it also, yeah, it could make you more aggressive, but I think it also makes you more aware when you know that mistake, that mistake that you make could take you out of contention. So I think it makes for good racing, but I also think it makes for less stupid moves.
I mean, yeah,
you're going to be aggressive, but why make a stupid move when you're 11th in points, when you're 10th in points?
And if you look at like today's standings and who finished in, the sub, I'm gonna go 15. We'll start with Duvall. We got Duvall, Solly, Iverson, Bollinger, Hillman, Medina, Amato. So many guys, Garand. So many guys we saw up front today that didn't get the finish that their speed justified. And I think at this point, even though it's only going to race 3, Mean Gene, I think you have to start thinking about points racing here. Mm-hmm. It's not as easy to win here as it was last year, and you can't count on that win you're in situation. So you have to start thinking about points racing these things and making sure that if that win doesn't come before the playoffs, you have the finishes to get you to the playoffs, because there's too many good drivers out here who can take that spot away from you with consistent finishes.
Yeah, look at the playoff drivers that finished kind of at the bottom. Austin Merrow, guy was a playoff driver last year, gets caught up in some foolishness. He's having point struggles. He's not in a must-win yet, but he's definitely in a don't screw up again kind of situation. Jose Medina, he didn't make the playoffs, but he was one of the top 2 right outside. Joseph Amato, he made the playoffs last year, and now he finds himself down at the bottom. So these guys, Jonathan K. Sabir, I think he was the first guy out of the playoffs. So a lot of big-name drivers finding themselves caught up in these Superspeedway incidents. Going to have to find that consistency. Next week at Auto Club, we're going to see more draft pack racing. So hopefully the stupid mistakes will go down. But that aggression will still stay up there for us to commentate and enjoy.
Yeah, it's just the tempers, it's the personalities, it's the what is it, like I guess the leftover feelings from a previous race that we saw spill over today. Comments made after a race by Kyle that I think spilled over to the way Walton raced him. And if Walton, we'll see what his penalties are. We'll talk about that next week. If he is here next week, that's gonna continue to happen. It's dramatic. It's fun to cover. But the best thing to cover is clean racing, and then exceptional racing like we saw last year. So we'll see, Mean Gene. A lot still to work out here, and we were hard in the 23 today. But one thing he isn't is slow, and that's why he's able to be such a big factor in these incidents and in these races. So that dude has tons of speed. It's just a matter of harnessing it in the proper way. But that still plays into how unpredictable and crazy these races have become. It's a lot different than it was this time last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Last year we were just calling the same 3 names.
Yeah, we kind of were, and then, not complaining about how different
this year.
Now.
No, yeah, and now all of a sudden we see different names and newer drivers coming up, and guys that were running in the back almost out of the playoffs continuing to progress, and now they're the ones that are running in the top 8 and in the top 10. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this continues to develop, especially as we get onto more of the intermediate level tracks and the road course that we're going to run here during the regular season. So final thoughts coming away from this?
Hey, just glad it delivered, Mean Gene. I promised you a hectic and crazy race with a track like you've never seen before, and I think that's what we got. That was a lot of fun today. That was craziness, and like any other Superspeedway, you can't count anyone out until the end. And what I love about these races oftentimes is seeing someone win that. I don't want to take any credit away from Kevin Kyle. That dude is capable of winning any race at any track, but it kind of just really, really sets the playing field super even at tracks like this. And I love when it delivers the way it did today. We got the hecticness, the mayhem, no pun intended, that we were hoping for. And it was a fun one. The drama is at no shortage, and it's setting the stage for yet another surreal season that we get to cover. So I'm having a great time, me and Gene. And yeah, you're right. Like you said, now we get to get into the nitty gritty of it all. Let's go to some intermediate tracks, some short tracks. Let's see the cream rise to the top. I'm excited for that.
I cannot wait to just see this thing continue to get wilder and wilder. That is going to wrap us up here at the iRacing Super Speedway. On behalf of myself, Mean Gene Money, behalf of Zach Panzarella, all of the production truck team, Buddy Sully, want to thank the league admins and owners, John Beverly, Joe Volpus, David Owens. Thank all of you for all the hard work that you do, and most of all, because they give us money. How about Chantilly Lace helping us put on a hell of a show tonight for you guys? We'll see you next week at Auto Club for race number 3. Once again, though, wrapping it up, watching that big win here today by Kevin Kyle as he conquers the iRacing Super Speedway. We'll see you next time. Bottoms up and hammer down.